Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Dangerous Freedom Saturday Night Forums with my lovely co-host, Patriot 3%er.
But
And actually, we do have a lovely host, a lovely co-host tonight, Jess with Keto Homesteading. So,
Hello.
and Native is supposed to be around. He's probably floating around somewhere. He'll be in here. And so, anyways, yeah, what are we talking about tonight? Actually, it's funny you say that, CJ. Go ahead, Patriot.
Well, been kind of, as I was doing my daily stuff, I stayed up way too late last night, so I slept in a little bit. But as I was doing my stuff today, I was kind of listening to some videos, just going through and just letting them play and just picking videos and stuff. And I noticed there was several. There's multiple videos out about fake preppers. Angry Prepper did one, and I thought he did a really good video. I really liked the way he talked about it, you know. And it's about basically preppers who sit behind the keyboard and they're not really that great of preppers, or maybe they are. But they just basically try to make money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing about it is I'm a prepper. He's a prepper. She's a prepper. Wouldn't you like to be a prepper too?
Right.
So the thing about it is you know, when I started my channel back in 2012, I 12 or 13, I titled it Patriot 3%. And I never intended on making videos. I only started the channel so that I could comment on, you know, because you got to have a channel, I guess, to, you know, I guess it's the same way now. I don't know. That's the way it was then. And I started a channel so that I could comment on videos. Well, after kind of getting in and being this time now, you know, and getting in with all these great people like Keto Homestead with Jess, and there's Bigfoot and Lake Fairy Prepper, there's freaking Prepper Tribe, you know, the Angry Prepper, man, there's a lot of these good preppers. Gosh dang it, Survival Living, right?
Oh, yeah, Survival Living.
Yep. Right. Yeah. So anyway, there's a multitude of really good preppers out there, right? So, like I said, I got to noticing this, you know, so I started kind of making a few videos, and I ended up kind of doing more prepping. Like I did the video on the whole mind and body exercise, you know, because I mentally prepping is just, to me, one of the top-notch things. I mean, you know, learning and so forth. But anyway, so I just thought it would be a really good topic to talk about, you know, these preppers out there and these channels and these different ones that claim to be preppers and the ones that, you know, that are preppers, and just the whole side of this, you know what I'm saying, and fake preppers and things like that. So I don't know, guys, what do you two think about that? Keto.
I think we should go ahead and address the chat really quick. I see it. We got my brother Ron Stryker in here. We got CJ, 1975, 12B, Alex Bleepin Jones, Emily. We got Keto. Hey, good to see you.
Keto in there.
Okay. And we got Ark Wildman is in here. Don Miller, welcome. Nitavalier, good to see you. Reliable. You are reliable. JP, what's going on, my brother from Canada? Susan, nice to see you. Okay.
Ron, Margot's here. Hey, hello, everybody.
We're getting them in here. I knew it'd take a minute. Rosa, Josh
the prepper, yeah.
All right. Okay, so yeah, we kind of had a little discussion about that behind the scenes. Me and Patriot have about the the fake preppers, the ones that just have the name, but honestly, I mean, and Patriot's right. We don't know what they know. Maybe they really are preppers. Whereas me and Patriot are more of the mindset of we're going to go for liberty and freedom first. I mean, we're more patriots, but to be to be a patriot, you pretty much have to be a prepper as well. I mean,
Yeah.
what's your take on that, Jess?
Yeah, I agree. And like I've always said, like you're not going to know. You're gonna know people by their actions and their words. You're gonna know who are real and who are actual preppers by watching their actions. That's just my take on it. And like me, like I don't know, there's a lot of undercover preppers too. Like I'm a homesteader and I've never like really considered myself as a prepper, but if you really dig into it, I really am. But on my channel, I don't talk about stuff like that. And that was one of the things that me and my husband agreed upon. If you're going to do YouTube, we're not going to show things that we have stocked up or anything.
Yep.
So, I mean, but if you listen to me and you listen to my channel, you'll get hints and clues there if you're paying attention.
Oh, yeah. Like, was it you were doing that one stream where you were talking about you could do a deer, but then when you had a 600-pound hog, you were like, oh, geez, how do I cut this thing up?
Right. Right.
So I mean, that right there is good knowledge. That's solid.
Yeah, and I think you can go with your gut feeling when you're watching people and listening to them.
Well, and see, I think you hit on a really good, valid point. Again, to be, as Dangerous was saying, to be a patriot, you kind of got to be a prepper, because to be a patriot, you kind of understand that, things could get really bad, and you got to know how to survive.
Right.
See, the thing about a lot of things, like for instance, I grew up in the country. I grew up in the woods. We had over 10,000 acres back behind where I lived at. And it was just all woods, creeks and big rock piles and, hills. And, we built forts and we built fires, we hunted, we fished.
Right.
These are all good things to do. Once I grew up and got older, I still hunt and fish and all that stuff. I mean, it's just something I love to do. We got into, I kind of got into thinking, first off, like back in the 30s, I believe it was 28, 29, when we had the stock market crash, and there were big bread lines and stuff, the wild game almost got hunted to extinction. Quickly.
Yep.
Quickly. And a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people say this. They're like, oh man, we'll just run out there and kill a deer. And well, the really funny thing I hear them say is, we'll go out there and catch a deer. And I'm like, how you doing that? Well, they mean kill it. But anyway, or catch a fish. And, you got to understand, man, there's 350 million people in this country.
Yeah.
I don't know, Devout. If you can get hold of Native, please do, man, because I invited him last night. Maybe he forgot. Maybe he's asleep. Maybe he's busy. Maybe something else happened. I don't know.
Patriot, I want to say something on that too, because I can't remember whose live I was on or what chat or whatever, and we were talking about that, growing up. And honestly, like I grew up in the city, but I had friends in the country. So in the summertime, I spent summers on a farm. And I mean, we were like 7, 8 years old. And I remember going out, we were playing survivalist back then, but didn't even realize it. We'd watch movies like The Last Mohican and stuff, and we would reenact that. We'd be stealing corn out of cornfields and trying to cook it, or crawdads out of the creek, and trying to eat that. So it's funny now as an adult, I look back on that and I was like, man, in that chat, I'm thinking we were playing survivalist way back then, trying to learn how to build fires and stuff just goofing off.
Native, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, everybody. Sorry I'm late, everybody. I apologize.
That's all right.
That's the thing, man. We just kind of, we don't really have the stardom until, the star power until you get here. And now that you're here, we can really shine, hopefully.
Dangerous Freedom twerking video went viral. He's the
Oh
star.
no.
So,
Hey, prepping 101.
so Native, did you get to hear what our subject was?
No, sir, I did not. What you guys talking about?
Well, all of a sudden, there's a bunch of videos and a bunch of people talking about fake and non-fake preppers on YouTube.
All right.
So we thought we would discuss that for a while, just discuss the ins and outs of prepping, how, people that probably, may not even show anything, but you can't really know if they're true preppers or not in some certain ways, but then you can, like Keto was addressing, that, you can tell by some of the things that they say and they talk about that you're like, okay, this guy knows something, So anyway, that's where we were at. We're in that subject of conversation.
Good subject.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that, Native? We've kind of all been talking about it a little bit.
Right.
So what you think?
Well, I agree with you. You could tell if someone's a real prepper or not just by having a conversation with someone. You can pick their brains. If we're all preppers, so if you ask someone a question on a certain subject, you know what you're looking for. You know why you're asking them that. Like when I had Keto with Jess on, and we had a conversation, I was asking her questions from a point of view of a prepper who's trying to transition into a homesteader, and she's been doing it longer than I have. And I had certain questions for her, and she answered them because she knew her shit. She knew what she was talking about. And
Exactly.
yeah, man, when you talk to someone, you can pretty much fill them out and know where they're coming from.
Was it on your weren't you on Native's channel not too long ago? And that's probably where I got the story about you know how to process a deer, but not a 600-pound hog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that right there, just that in itself, it's a learning curve. I thought that was so cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's kind of the thing, that, there are some of us, like myself, for instance, I do more in patriot security things,
Yes.
if you know what I mean. I've been working with some former military guys on, hand-to-hand combat, shooting techniques, things like this. But I do have preps. I do prep. I understand as calling myself a patriot that if things go bad, you're not going to just be able to hunt, because, I was mentioning earlier that back in the 28, 29, 30, stock market crash, they basically nearly hunted the wild game to extinction, like quick.
Yeah, it did it quick
Right.
too.
Yeah. So that's something that you don't need to depend on. You don't need to just go, oh yeah, I'm just going to go out and hunt and fish,
I hear that,
So,
bro.
right. So I have other things to help myself out. I'm kind of one of them, being from security side of things that I've been training is, don't always show your hand. Don't show all your hand. You can show you things, but don't show it. Don't show your hand, man, because people will use that against you. So I try to be a little more secluded about that kind of thing. Just to be honest with you, from the locations and here and other places, I could probably make videos for a year on all the crap I've got.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to do that. It's just not.
Especially when there's already videos out there.
Right. And that's a thing that scares me too. I don't know about you guys as YouTubers, but like my local community watch me, my family watches me, and they don't know what I do behind the scenes or what I prep. And I sure as heck don't want to put that out on a YouTube video and have everybody knocking on my door when, you know, shit hits the fan.
I'm gonna make one point here. Y'all were talking about fake and not fake preppers, okay? Well, I'll say this. I am the most fake prepper around. I'm joking.
Yeah, well, dude, yeah.
I was just like, okay.
You know what? You know what? As young as you are, you've got a lot of knowledge already going on, dude. And knowledge is power, and that's also prepper skill. So,
right. I've got a bit of a Harbor Freight haul that I'm showing tonight, so I was there all day looking for things. Now, I was going to save this for stream tonight, but I'm going to say it now. One thing that is really scaring me when I went there today, everything they had at Harbor Freight was prepping stuff. They had tarps, they had flashlights, they had ammo cans. They didn't have but a small selection of tools.
wow.
And it was very, very odd. It was like they're changing their stock over to high demand items, which just so happen to all be, you know, generalized prepping stuff, which is odd. And I know you can get a lot of prepping stuff at Harbor Freight, but it just they had a lot more than I thought they would compared to the last time I was there, and it just I don't know. It kind of
It used to be more wrenches, hammers, pry bars, stuff like that. Now, I get what you're saying. I mean, look at the gun sales in the last 8 months.
They had their whole back wall was gun cases, safes, and those like Plano cases. That was it. No trailer stuff, no nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've noticed it too, Prepping 101 at like TSC, Tractor Supply Company.
Yeah.
Like, it's really weird because they usually don't have like prepping stuff like that, but they've been having like a whole back wall of stuff, and so is Rural King. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Do they know something that we don't, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, we know. I think it's a safe assumption that pretty much we know, especially the folks on the panel here know, and most of the folks in the chat, you know, what if they don't know, they're learning, and they're learning it pretty quickly too.
Right.
You know, because we're already in shit hit the fan. I think everybody should just understand that we're already in the shit hit the fan, and we're in the light stages.
Right.
But it won't be very long before we're going to see parts go Mad Max. I mean, I'm not going to say the whole country is going to go Mad Max.
Oh no, it's going to be like the Civil War. You're going to have the pockets of skirmishes and such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My biggest fear about when it happens and everything is like most people don't talk about it. And I know this is a Gaia panel, so please excuse me. But like feminine health, like single dads that have little girls and stuff like that, they really, really need to pay attention to like women's health. I know it's uncomfortable and stuff, but women get, especially little girls, they get UTIs and things like that. And if it gets into your kidneys, that's a serious matter. So those are things that like really scare me, and I try to tell people that they really need to make aware of their preps. But
That's good, Jess.
yeah,
That's very good.
Yeah, and not to mention that if you can't afford a lot of Band-Aids and such, and you know, these big nice kits to you know, for patching up and stuff, the tampons can actually, if you get shot, you actually can stick one of them. It may not be comfortable, it may not be the best thing in the world, I understand, but you're trying to stop the bleeding. You can actually insert that into a bullet wound.
That's a good point.
Pop it out, or you know, leave, you know, the thing, the what you call it, the plastic thing there, and you know, you leave the actual tampon in there, it will swell and could possibly stop the bleeding. It's just you know,
It's all about buying time.
Time.
And like well, the other day, remember we were watching that video, somebody sent me the link. It's a new product that they're working on where you basically inject You remember those little toilet, or not toilet paper, but the paper towel rolls that they dehydrate and put into like a coin size?
Oh yeah.
That you
And,
wet and then they expand.
yep. And they're working on that kind of thing now for a quick clot, which I think is a really good idea personally. But
Yeah. And people they need to learn to know what quick clots they can use and stuff. Like there's cayenne pepper, there's cinnamon. Like my husband has a blood clot, so it scares me to death when he goes out in the woods to, cut wood. I always make sure he has cinnamon on him because
I never thought that. Well, I never understood. Let me put it this way: I never understood those little paper towel rolls. Why would you dampen toilet paper? It's just going to fall apart.
well, no, they're not actually toilet paper. They're more like a paper towel, but they're fiber cloth.
Huh.
But they shrink them down, and like I said, they're like the size of almost a quarter. Maybe
So it's more like Lysol wipe rather than like that kind of material.
yeah, it's fibrous, yeah, and you can reuse them actually. I mean, granted, if you're wiping your ass with it, you probably want to reuse it.
You walked right into that one.
God. But I think that again, a lot of people. If I watched a few videos today of people that were calling people out and saying, well, they claim to be preppers, but I hadn't really seen anything from them to prove that they're preppers, so they're just fake preppers. Well, that's really not. There was no names called or anything, and I just sat back and I thought about that, and I kind of was like, no, I don't make a lot of prepping videos, and I've got a small channel, so I don't think they're watching me or anything like that. But I just thought, one of the things about that is that just because someone don't show you a lot of stuff doesn't mean that they don't know how to do it. And I wanted to really, I really wanted to make that point across tonight because, there is a lot of things that I know. I'm gonna tell you, I kill 3 to 5 deer every year. I do not have a deer stand. I don't hunt in a deer stand. I haven't ever hunted in a deer stand, and I've killed deer off the ground with bow, with compound bows, with crossbows, with guns, with pistols. I don't have any videos of that. But that doesn't mean that I can't do it, that I don't do it. I've got a whole freezer full of meat. Ron's seen it before. I showed him.
Mm-hmm.
I went over there one day with the camera and stuff and showed all the deer, that I have in my freezer.
You've done it all on foot.
Yes. I do not hunt in a deer stand. I never have.
I don't either. I do it all on foot.
Hey, all right. Now the airborne prepper.
You can if you fold it over.
I call them Doc, but so you can't vent out duct tape. So the sucking chest wound. Okay, so duct tape. Maybe.
Well, hold on, native. Listen to what Native just said.
Okay.
You can if you make the flap, like how you fold over duct tape.
Mm-hmm.
You can make like a flap, like you have where it's stuck on the wound. And then you fold it over to make a flap, and you can put another piece, and you can vent it that way.
Wow.
I've thought about that. I've thought about duct tape for the same reason, a brother airborne, and I've wondered, like you said, like you can't vent it if you just use the tape right against it. But if you make that flap, I don't see why you couldn't. We talked about that in paramedic school.
Awesome.
People are talking in the chat about when things hit the fan, like how they're going to respond mentally, how they're going to react. And I honestly, I've thought about that question. I've seen it in a lot of chats lately, and turning away women and children and things like that. I've seen a lot of that. I get really upset when I see some people, I won't mention who, but some people get on, YouTube, and they're like, oh, I'm like this badass, I'm going to do this and do that. But in reality, when shit hits the fan, I think everybody's going to freak out. I don't think anybody is going to be ready for what hits, and nobody's going to be able to foretell how they're going to react. And honestly, if they're turning away people, I think it's another gut feeling. You're going to have to decipher who's good and who isn't. But if you're turning away people, that's more protection. You don't know what skills they might have that might be able to help you. I don't know.
That question is up in the air. I mean, they could be there to be harmful. Maybe they're part of another group that's just feeling out the water. I mean, honestly, we won't know enough. I wanted to play a quick clip here. Hopefully, I can get my channel taken down, but it's only a 30-second clip. But anyways, we were talking about the panic part of it.
I gotta get out of here.
Oh, no.
Down, get a hold of yourself.
Yeah,
I'll take care of this.
he's a doctor.
Go for your phone on the phone.
Jeez.
Oh man, is that not funny though?
Well,
Yeah.
I wanted to say, Keto, you know, the other night when we were on prepping outside the box, you know, on War Game Wednesday, I actually said, you know, I would turn people away, and you know, I thought about that, you know, real long that night, and thought about it all the next day, you know, and you know, because seeing some of the answers, you know, that people were saying in the chat, and the things they were saying, and just different stuff, and you know, Prep and Plumber actually did a video and called us out on it, and I listened to his video and actually watched it twice, and really, you know, sat down and thought about it, and then I made a video answering Prep and Plumber, and I was nice about it, and because I really meant it from my heart that, you know, all these different people that gave these different things and talked about, and what Prep and Plumber had to say, you know, really made me think, and that's what I like. And I admitted in the video, look, I don't know everything, man. I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I can't tell you I can tell you what I think I would do, what I plan on doing, but plans change instantly.
Yeah.
You know? The minute that you actually look at that child, for instance, because I don't want to get off into that because it seems to be a touchy subject, but
Yeah.
you know, the minute you look at that child, you go ahead, Native.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, if it's a true shift, you know, there's no more government, no more society. The very best natured human beings are going to rise up and help one another, but also the very worst parts of humanity are going to take severe advantage.
Oh yeah.
And warlords are going to pop up, you know, and that always has to be in your mind. There are some cunning, manipulative people in this world, and they will use anyone and anything, even children, you know, to gain access to you and your family, your kids, and that always has to be in our minds. But I agree. I mean, if someone showed up, so I was in that chat, and I remember that disagreement about if a kid shows up, and I thought about that. I mean, I probably would try to help the kid somehow, you know, but how far do you go before you endanger your own children?
Yeah.
I think that was the point, like you guys and POTB were trying to make.
Right.
Yeah. And that's why I said I don't think anybody knows how they're going to react until they're in that situation.
Right. Well, and that's a whole part of, you know, the whole thing with like practicing your preps, for instance. You know, it's real easy to run out there and spend $200 and buy stuff, you know, knives and ferro rods.
Yeah, me and Wide Family Farm, we were talking about this, like the life straws and stuff like that, you know?
Right.
How, like, has anybody actually went out and used their life straw? Like, I want to see somebody go out to a muddy puddle and suck up some muddy water from a life straw, and I want a demonstration.
No,
I don't
want
want to wait.
I want him to go to a rest stop that hadn't been cleaned.
Yeah, something.
Oh, go right in the toilet. Oh.
Yeah, and I want to see if they get like dysentery or they get sick or something, because like, what are you going to do? You're going to wait until shit hits the fan and then go use your life straw and see if it works, and there's like no hospital or anything for help. I want to see it now. Like, show me your product.
There actually is a video, if it's still up, from
Really?
a guy called The Prepared Mind.
Okay.
And he actually did a video about that. He went out into the desert basically, and there was a pretty nasty looking water, and he drank out of it through I believe it was a life straw. Was it?
Yeah, it was a life straw. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then
He
he made a video the next day and showed, hey guys, I feel good. I'm okay. I didn't die. I ain't sick. So there is actually a video out there. There's probably more, but I know that, like I said, that might be something I might look at. Of course, it'll be a while, but at deer camp, see, we don't have any running water. We don't have any electricity. We don't have any of that stuff. So we do some primitive type stuff, but we kind of cheat a little. I ain't gonna lie. I take my trolling motor battery out of my boat, and we've got a little solar charger up there. And basically what we do, we've got an inverter, and we've got a 40-inch screen TV and a DVD player, and we take DVDs with us and run it off the inverter.
But no running water.
But no running water at all.
I'm just saying, you got your priorities straight on that one.
How long will your battery last with the TV?
It'll last. Honestly, we watch about 2 to 3 movies a night because during that time it gets dark really early.
Right.
5 o'clock. So we end up usually watching 2 or 3 movies while we're cooking, and we do have a little propane stove up there, and that's how we cook. And it'll last about 3 days before
in terms of handling the water, I rely on the life straw myself, and I have a single walled canteen that if I need to boil water, I can do so.
Cool.
So, I mean, I think that's all I need. And if there's chemicals in the water, then, just pray.
And I have a question too, because I am not like a product prepper, I guess you can say. I don't buy products. So like with the life straws and stuff like that, they say on there that you can use them up to like so many uses. Like, how are you going to keep track of how many times you sucked out of that straw?
Well, let me just say this. It filters up to 4,000 liters, which is the equivalent of like 2 years.
Okay.
Well, see, that's like I'll tell you. Let me answer. This is hard to do when you try to keep up with chat. And all right, so basically, one of the things that I know you can do is you can actually take creek water if you've got a plastic, because plastic bottles are everywhere. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you got to imagine, when shift happens, you're probably going to be able to find a plastic bottle or two. You can actually take creek water and put it in a plastic bottle and put the lid on it. Hopefully you got a lid. I don't guess it really matters, but you can set that out in the direct sunlight, and that plastic, it heats that water. Now it's not completely perfect, but it will, if you leave it sitting there over time, that sunlight goes through that water. You know what I'm saying?
It'll UV sanitize.
It'll UV sanitize that water, and it will give you some decently clean drinking water. Now you have to leave it out there all day long, especially if you're in a somewhere where, you get a lot of good hot sunlight. Man, you can sanitize you pick up 3 or 4 bottles of water, 3 or 4 of these plastic bottles, dip them in the creek and just leave them set out, like on some rocks or something. Just let the sun hit on them all day long, and it will UV out a lot of the bad stuff, and you can
When
actually
it
drink
comes to the life straw thing and making it go further than what it normally does, is they say to run water reverse way through it. That way it flushes out the filter rather than just going one direction all the time.
Dave, that is a good point. The water doesn't expire, but the plastic jug it's stored in does. Yep. That's a very good point.
Speaking of which, I gotta change out the water in the basement. I've got, you know the Coke bottles I drink.
Mm-hmm.
I got
Yeah,
those.
the plastic ones. Yeah.
I got those all filled up in the basement. So it's like I gotta change those out now.
Well,
If they're out of the sun and you know and stuff like that, they're gonna last a bit longer. But they, if they've been down there like 2 or 3 years, yeah, you might want.
Oh no, it hasn't been a half a year, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, y'all don't do that. Don't start that sign and all that crap. Come up with a subject. You want me to come up with a subject for you?
Hey, I was gonna say that when it came to water filtration, we're working on a system for the bug out cabin. We have a 300-gallon tub, and we're gonna set it up as a tower and just let it catch rainwater. And we're gonna run a line from it through a Sawyer Mini, so that the water will be filtered through there and go into sterile lines and go to a shower, a toilet. We have a composting toilet we're going to hook it up to, and it'll go to a sink.
sweet.
That's the theory, anyway. That's the theory. We're going to see if we can make it work.
Yeah, see, and if you keep it in the direct sunlight, you know, it won't be hot water, but it will be warm water, and you know, you can actually, you know, if you keep it where it stays in the direct sunlight all the time, and also it helps to if the you know, if you can paint it black.
We can.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and it will help for the heat and it will help with the water going bad. You know what I'm saying, with getting the.
Yeah, I got you. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. Also, you can, if you get really creative, you can actually take aluminum cans. If you can find a bunch of good aluminum cans, you can actually take and cut holes in the bottom, right? You can take, if you're really good at it, I've done this a little bit, but it's hard as crap. But you can actually take tree sap, like pine sap, and you can put them cans together, okay? And you make a big long thing of them, right? You can run your water to one of them, and you set it up on like a metal roof. If you have some metal roof, or even just a roof, you got your water up high like you're talking about, and you run that water through them metal cans, and as the sun beats down on that, you know, you just leave it, the valve shuttle, the aluminum cans.
That's a good idea.
You're talking like let the sun heat it up. Now,
right, that's a great.
Actually,
Well, I'm gonna poke a hole in that argument. What do you do in winter?
Well, my winter, dude, I'm out here in a tank top. Everybody else is in like sweaters and stuff. I mean, you know, we don't really get much of a winter, dude. Like it might be 34 at 5 o'clock in the morning, but by noon, I mean, if especially on a rooftop, you know, you're looking at 80, 90 degrees easy, and the sun always shines down here.
Well, I know, but what he's saying,
the foil, like the like what you use to reflect sunlight, or just aluminum foil, and you can make something in the wintertime, and you can paint it black, just like 3% was talking about. Even in the winter, it'll still be warm, and you can insulate it so it won't freeze. And someone had a question, dangerous Sir Lord Byron. It was about asked me why I wouldn't do through sand, rock, and charcoal. That was the original idea, brother. And then it just someone put a bug in my ear about trying to do it through a Sawyer Mini, And I mean, that would be an easier hookup. And so we're going to try that, but we're also going to have it to where we have a like a bucket system where you can do the sand charcoal filter, and go if the mini sawyer thing don't pan out, we can still go back to that route.
But you can use like aluminum cans, you know, if you don't have, you know, I actually have some extra PVC pipe around here for certain reasons that are going to just it's being stored, you know, but which I was going to use for that direct thing. During the wintertime, yes, you're going to have some difficulties. You know, but with, you know, like Native was saying, you know, there are some inventive ways that you can do this kind of stuff, you know, but I actually learned that trick off it was an old hillbilly, man, what was that called? It was two old boys that lived up in the Appalachian Mountains, and one of them looked like he was dumb as a box of rocks, but he was actually some type of engineer dude, man. Like some kind of, yeah, he was freaking intelligent. And then he had another guy that was called something two dogs bull jack or something like that, and he was part Indian. And dude, I'm gonna tell you, them two old boys right there come up with some of the wildest stuff, and I actually learned that from them. They actually built that, and they
What
were
was
saying,
the name of that show?
yeah, it was Hillbilly.
Hillbilly Brothers.
Was it Hillbilly Brothers?
Yeah, they probably know how to make shine too, which is also a very good.
They do.
Oh, absolutely.
I was impressed when they made a gasifier for
Yeah,
an air
that-
conditioner.
Oh, I have to check that.
Yeah, they actually made, and I can't remember what it's called, but they actually made, their creek was down below their house. Okay, their house was up on this hill. They actually made this deal out of some PVC pipe and something else, and the water ran into it, and it caused it to pump. Some way they made this deal with like a T, and it come up, and it had this deal on it. And once they got it siphoned, they had like a can or something in there, and it freaking made like a pump, and it was pumping. It actually worked and pumped water up to their house just from the flow of the creek. It was cool as hell, man. I'm gonna have to go and look that up, and you know what I'm saying, and find that out. And by the way, just to let everybody know in the chat, and I see you there, your channel, whatever. This particular show right here is a 2-hour show. If you want to stay around,
I'm gonna hop out here.
We're not. This is not the Dangerous After Dark where we talk a bunch of crap and cut each other down and stuff. This is a more serious show. So all I'm gonna say, if you want to hang around, stop now with the crap. You want to come to Dangerous Freedom After Dark later on after 9 o'clock, whenever he starts that one tonight. We like to talk crap over there and cut each other down. So just saying. You know,
or you can just go on any other prep channel, like Prepping Outside the Box. We're on his channel fairly often. Tomorrow night I'll be on there with my buddy Ghost and Hutch on Dusty Datas for the Prepperty, which ought to be interesting to say the least. I have no idea what kind of questions they're going to throw at us, but man, I've watched it. It's fun. It's going to be fun either way.
But so anyway, back to it, you know, the real thing about it is there's a lot of ways out there, you know, that right now, while we still have internet, still have electricity, all that good stuff, there is thousands and thousands and thousands of videos out there of different ways to do this stuff.
Yep.
My way may work for me, and it may not work for Dangerous. We've talked about this. You know, he lives in a completely different environment than I do. So some of the preps that I do they're not going to work where Dangerous lives. You know, it's just not going to happen because he lives in a completely different environment, you know, so he has to prep differently than I do. So
Yeah, I was
Go
going
ahead.
to mention too, on my property, I have springs. So like all the water comes out of the hillside, but as it's coming out of the hillside, we have sandstone all around it. It helps filter it out. So
Yeah.
that's my plan.
Right.
That's a good one.
Well, and spring water is awesome. Where I grew up at, we had a spring, and man, it wasn't nothing for us during the summertime. Kids, you know, we're out there playing and carrying on, whatever, and we'd go drink straight out of the spring, just, you know, just cup
Yeah.
it up,
That's
get
what
some
we do.
cool. Oh man, cool fresh water, dude.
Yeah, and
Tastes so great.
all the water that we have that comes to the house is from the spring. And it's a difference. Like if anybody hasn't had spring water before, it's insane. Like I've been on spring water now for 10 years. If I go into town to try, you know, get a drink of water from a friend's house or even bottled water, I'm like, oh, this is horrible.
Yeah.
So Jeremy out, and here's a good one for us. Jeremy out there says, I've got well water. I
Yep.
want to ask, do you have test kits for that well water? And I'm the reason why I asked this is because, you know, like Native was saying, when shift happens, you can get people that are devious. Okay, people the most devious of devious are going to come out. What if they poison your well and you don't know it?
Well,
I mean, hopefully you know, if you've got a well, hopefully you've got a mag, you're going to have security set up, yada, yada. But what if somebody does get in there and poison that well?
That's what I've had questions about too. And I've asked a couple of people, but they didn't really have the answer. Like if the water was to be contaminated and stuff, how would you protect a spring from that? Or would it be protected since it comes from underground?
yeah.
Anybody know that answer?
That's a very good, how to protect it. Well, that's a very good question. I would think, as far as it goes for a spring, I would probably want to make sure that I had some fencing around it so that animals and such can't get in there and leave droppings, you know, in the water. Things can't, you know, maybe even put some type of a roof over it so that you don't get a lot of impurities going in there. This is just off the top of my head because I've never been asked this question. I'm going off the top of my head, just trying to think, you know, to you know, cordon it off, you know, and make it to where, you know, these animals and people have a little harder time to get to it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have a gate, obviously, on it so you can get in there to it. You know, you can put a lock, whatever, but even that lock, you know, it's an extra step. You know, if somebody's coming in to try to do something bad to your spring, you know, your little hole, spring hole there, you know, you know, they may not have bolt cutters. They may not be able to get in the damn lock. You know what I'm saying?
I'm more like concerned, like I'm not concerned about people getting to it. I'm more concerned if the water gets contaminated underground. Is that possible for a spring to get contaminated since it's being filtered through all the sand and rock and everything?
They'd have to pop the cap on, like, is it like a 4-inch well? It's like a pipe that goes down into it, because you could poison it that way. But I mean, for someone to do that to your well, you would know. Like, they'd need tools and stuff to do it. It could be done.
Now but you mentioned it comes just straight out of the mountainside.
Yeah, it just comes straight out of the mountainside. And the only thing we did is we took like PVC pipe and just hammered it into the side of the mountain.
Right.
So, but what I'm talking about is like the actual water coming from the mountainside.
The water source.
Yeah, the water source.
Well, see, that would be if the water is coming from underground. I mean, it would seem like to me they would really have to drill down. I mean, there's no way they could do all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that spring runs around all of my area. So there's people that live on top of that mountain Yeah, I don't know where that water source actually comes from. I just know it comes out of the side of the mountain.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe they're doing nuclear tests down there. You don't know.
Yeah.
You probably know if they were doing nuclear tests or
Yeah.
something.
It's just something that I've pondered on. I just wondered what
take.
other people's take would be on it.
Well, it would seem like to me that water's probably always going to be safe because it's coming from underground,
Mm-hmm.
and it's. I mean, for someone to be able to get to the water source itself and be able to poison it, you know, and then you've got to understand that it's a continuous water source.
Yeah.
So even if they tried to drop some poison in there, it's going to filter it. You know, it's going to run out.
Right.
Pretty quickly. That's why I mentioned the test kits a while ago. There are a lot of test kits you can get online, and they're not very expensive at all. And you can test the water, and it comes with little booklets and everything, and it tells you what may or may not be in there. And yeah, I don't know. I might be completely wrong about this, but I'm gonna say it would probably be near impossible for someone to poison an underground spring.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of wondering too. But like I said, it's just something I've pondered on and wondered if anybody else out there was more educated.
What's going on, Arkansas?
Lord. It's too late for that.
Arkansas.
What's up? Don't start with me, Native. I ain't got time.
Yeah, you do. You always try to do something weird.
What y'all talking about? Y'all still trying to start fires or what?
Oh no. What the subject is all of a sudden there seems to be a lot of videos, a lot of people sort of talking about fake preppers and preppers who are not, and people that are just in it for the money and so forth. So we kind of started there, and basically, you know, but we kind of established that because someone doesn't show you all of their preps, you know, I'm you know, like let's say for me, I'm not walking around in the house, you know, and in a couple other places I have, you know, walking around going, yeah, I've got all this and I've got all this, and here's what I'm doing here, and here's what I'm, you know, that doesn't mean I'm not a prepper. You know, my personal belief is it's really kind of stupid to go and show all your stuff. Especially I don't make videos inside my house because I just don't want people knowing the layout of my house. That's just the way I am. I'm just that way. You know, having a video room or something is one thing, but you know, it's so anyway, we've kind of went from there, and we're kind of been talking about water filtration, things like we're kind of on the prepping thing tonight.
Yeah, I heard you talking about a ram pump a little while ago. I've actually built a couple of those.
Ram pump. That's what yes, ram pump.
Yeah, you gotta get you. They work good, but you need to use them somewhere like what you said, where you got a creek or you've got an uphill water source.
Yes.
And because, you know, I mean, and once you get them started, I mean, they'll just sit there and work all day long. But you have to have that little air chamber thing on it, or it won't have the potential energy whenever that second check valve discharges to shoot the water up. The only problem with it is that they're not very efficient. You're only thinking about maybe 10% of the water that comes into it actually makes it. And all it is it's just a kinetic hammer. It's kinetic, hydraulic kinetic energy is all it is, because it doesn't, you know, water doesn't compress. So
I'm gonna keep that. I keep my little book here that I write these ideas and cool things down in, and go and look them up and study things. But I'm, you know, because I don't make a lot of prepping videos. I'm not a prepper, but anyway, it's all good.
I'm pretty sure we all know where that video was directed at, and I'm pretty sure it probably wasn't directed at any of us.
Right, but I've actually seen a couple of more videos of some people has made today calling out fake preppers, and they sit in and talk. Yeah. So it just kind of, I was like, no names were mentioned. I didn't feel like they were talking about me, but maybe they were. Maybe they were talking about Dangerous. Maybe they were talking about Arkansas. Who knows? Who cares?
Well,
Because
I'm not.
I know.
I mean, I don't feel the need to show the people, the 20 and 30 pound sacks of flour and sugar and salt that are on my dining room table right now. It ain't nobody's business.
Yep.
That's exactly.
There's plenty of videos out there about how to put stuff in buckets, and I don't need to show everybody all the ones that are stacked up in my laundry room waiting for me to put them somewhere else right now either.
I got a big stack of them too. Just saying, but that's the whole thing is, go ahead, Native. You was fixing to say something. Go ahead, bro.
I was just going to say, since I've entered this community about 6 months ago, and I've been watching all these prepping channels, one thing I've realized is prepping is just not one thing, and all of us prep for ourselves, our families, and it's an individual thing, and you can tell the people for who it's a lifestyle. We can talk about all the different categories of, survivalists and bushcraft and all this stuff. Prepping, it has many different categories and subcategories, but preparedness, the preparedness like mindset, the lifestyle that we all live, I think we're all kind of under that umbrella, and there's a lot of overlaps. Well, that's one thing I have learned, man. There is all kinds of ways to prep, and it's an individual thing. And we all can't just say you should be doing this or you should be doing this. Well, you don't know that. Like you just pointed out, 3%, like where Dangerous lives compared to where you live is so vastly different. What you need to prep is different from what he needs to prep.
Yep. I mean, I'm in a tank top and I'm sweating, and he's over there in a sweater. So
Well, it's a hoodie. I don't wear sweaters, but anyway, so
I like sweaters.
I'm sure you do. Them turtlenecks are your favorite, ain't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But no, seeing that's the whole thing about it. You gotta understand that even storing stuff where I live versus where he live is going to be different. There are so much things that go into prepping that, again, like Native was speaking about, man, it's not just a blanket statement and, well, this is how you prep and everybody preps this away, because that's not true. Dangerous don't have the access to water like I do. I got creeks here. I've got several 1,000-acre lake down the road from me. I know where several ponds are close to me, off of a topo map that I have of my area, and my surrounding areas. These are kind of things that people
Cindy B has a question. Is there a filter that would work with oil, petroleum in my water?
I think the only way to do that is to distill it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say Arkansas might know that, because you said, you mentioned that you lived there near a factory and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever, so you might be a little more up on that.
That's about 75 miles downstream from me, the one that I was talking about. I don't really have a factory close by, but yeah, I mean, as far as filtering goes, when it comes to chemicals and stuff like that, you almost need to know what kind of chemical you're dealing with and at what temperature that it's going to evaporate at. And
like maybe a burn off even.
I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe, one thing about petroleum is if any kind of petroleum product or anything like that, if you let it sit long enough, all the water's going to sink to the bottom. It'll separate naturally, and then you could drain the water off the bottom and then maybe distill it from there or something.
That's a good idea, Art. I like that.
Yeah. Great idea.
And yeah, we had somebody said they have a shipping container, but can't keep canned goods or liquids in it because it's 12 degrees. So they would, well, I'm guessing they would freeze at that point. I don't know, maybe rig up some kind of portable heater. I don't.
Again with the test strips. If y'all don't have test strips, it's probably not a bad thing to have. I'll just say that. There are a lot of good test strips out there. You can research online that will tell you different things that are in the water that are not good for you versus,
That's actually a good point, Reaper. If you are trying to distill water with petroleum in it, it could become explosive. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, it could, but so can making moonshine.
True, that is true.
Well, you ain't kidding.
You do a video on that or something?
I don't know if I need to make it. It's been a long time since I've done
that. To stay on the prepping topic and what we're talking about with the whole blanket prepping thing, versus, prepping for yourself and so forth. One of the things that really irritates me a lot is when you see some of these prepping channels and they're like, you can only buy this, you can only buy that. I mean, if you ain't got this product, I mean, you're just wasting your time, and it really bothers me because here's the thing. If you have someone out there that wants to start prepping, and let's say they can only come up with a few dollars extra a week, you just discourage the hell out of that person because they can't afford to buy the top of the line stuff that's out there. Okay. I have a Leatherman right here. Okay. This Leatherman, this is a small one. It's a mini. And I'll tell you, it still costs about $50.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice freaking Leatherman. Now, this particular one, I actually got it from a yard sale. And I'm going to tell you what I did. Leatherman has a lifetime warranty. I went to a yard sale and found one that had a broken deal in it. And the little blades and stuff that's attached to that part was laying there. Okay, it was broke. I bought the Leatherman for $3 or $4 or $5. I don't remember. It wasn't much at all. Well, what I did was immediately when I got home was I contacted Leatherman. They was like, "Oh yeah, just ship it to us and we'll ship you a brand new one." So in there, this one is actually different than the one that I had because they had quit making. So they quit making that particular model, and this is their new model. So they sent me this new model free of charge.
Nice.
And so, but so that's a food for thought for people out there that, check these yard sales, check these flea markets. Some of these companies do offer, free exchange. But anyway, so one of the things that I was getting at with this is that, the Leatherman, obviously it's one of the better ones on the market, no doubt. But a $5, 10 or let's say an $8 one from Wally World, one of them Ozark Trails, it's better than not having one at all. Don't get discouraged. I do not like when.
Yeah. Like my go-to. I've got my SOG. I don't even remember what it stands for. I know that they make a lot of weapons for the military, knives and such. They've been a solid company. I like the Navy SEALs. I think still carry their SOG. I think that's a mini pup or something like that. 6, 7 inch blade, but solid, you know.
Well,
But
that's the whole thing is that look, let's just say Bush's beans, for instance. Okay, you'd be surprised at when you go and read where they're, you know, the little company where they're actually made, canned, and all that. You go over there and you go to one of them cost saver brands, and you start reading, and you go, well, hell, this is made at the same place. These are the same beans, same thing. Okay.
well, I mean, yeah. On that note, you look at the AR lowers. I mean, you know, dude, they're only made by like 6 different actual factories, but then they ship them out to, you know, other companies, and they put their stamp and their little etching on it. But yeah, I mean, there's
Okay.
not that
So
many.
anyway, back to the beans. What I'm getting at is I'm wanting people out there to understand that, you know, you don't have to buy the Bush's beans. Okay. They're $1.10, you know, a can. Okay. You can go buy them cost saver cans for 50 cents a can. It's the same damn beans. It's beans. Beans are beans. You know, if you want to have some canned storage, you know, whatever. Don't
I want to hit on that too, because like
come on.
with what you're saying about the preps and buying products, like there's a lot of smart YouTubers here, you know, that prep and they don't have any products at all. And I think like your knowledge is going to be your biggest prep. Like I don't prep products, and I know my grandparents and my great grandparents that went through the Depression, they didn't have all this stuff. Like they didn't have products that they could just go buy and help them survive. They had to have that knowledge that was passed down to them. So I think that's like the biggest prep people need, are either books or knowledge or wisdom from the older generation.
Yeah, because you know, beans, bullets, and band-aids they can still take away, but knowledge they cannot.
Right.
There you go.
Arkansas living, I think he's a living example of being passed down all that knowledge.
Well, exactly. And, you know, it's again, you know, I really hate when I see these prepping channels, you know, and they talk about, man, if you ain't got this Leatherman, I mean, you just might as well not have one, you know, basically.
Yep.
That's not true.
I
You know
might not have a Leatherman, but I have a pitchfork and an axe.
There you go. I'll make it
Yeah.
work.
Well, something to think about too, and this was something that I was actually going to make a video topic about, is some of the same stuff that y'all are talking about. If anybody else wants to do it also, you know, you can go to pawn shops and stuff and flea markets and stuff like that, like y'all are talking about, and you can find some of the best axe and hatchet heads and hammer heads and stuff like that I've got when I'm doing blacksmithing stuff. It's stuff that I got from, I just found old hammerheads and stuff in the $1 tool bucket that had a U.S. stamp on the side of them, and put a new handle in them and cleaned them up, you know.
Right.
And, you know, and you could do the same thing. You know, I talked about going to the dollar store. You know, I went to Dollar Tree and bought a bunch of stuff the other day, flashlights, and they've got paracord. You can buy 40 foot of paracord in Dollar Tree for $1. You know, those old hickory butcher knives that you get at the hardware store and stuff like that are made by Ontario Knife Company. They're 1095 carbon steel. They take an edge really well. And you can do anything in the woods with that you can with a $200 knife.
That's exactly right.
I'll tell you what, one of the best, because when I was framing, I remember on one of the job sites, I got one of the concrete workers that broke his handle, and he left the hammerhead there. Well, I took that thing, I took it home, I cleaned it up, I put, I sharpened the claws, because when you're a framer, you have to have sharp claws on that thing, and I still got the hammer. I just went out and bought a new handle for it. Yeah. Repurposing.
I just want to bring these up, and I'll let y'all talk about it. Northern Girl Hobbies says, absolutely, knowledge is important. Keep a journal, perhaps, if you can't afford the books. Great freaking point. And then New York says, you can download lots of good information for free online. Absolutely. But always remember, the electricity and the internet in shift situation is gone.
Yep.
Notebooks.
Yeah.
Buy notebooks, man. You can go and buy them little spiral notebooks for what, 50 cents at Wally World,
Yep.
things like that. Write this stuff down, man, that you can download it. You can look over it, write the stuff down, but I'll let y'all go speak
Or
on
print it out. Print it out and put it in a 3-ring binder.
Well, that's what I've been doing. I've been printing out bread recipes and different little stuff like what Patriot's talking about.
Yeah.
I've got a 3-hole punch. I just every time I see something like that, I try to either bookmark it or something like that, and I'll go back and print it out so that I don't have to worry about trying to find it electronically.
Exactly. Great point. No, Jeremy, that's we talked about that the other night. I've got one of them plastic totes full of coloring books, puzzle books. I mean, look, I'm 52 years old and don't think if things got it's the bottom one, that one. Don't think I ain't past. If I'm out there and I'm, it's a shift situation. It's my turn to take a break, whatever. I'm sitting there. There's no lights, whatever, yada yada. Don't think I won't sit down and color a Donald Duck. You know what I'm saying?
Well, especially if it keeps you from falling asleep on a watch or something like that. I mean,
yes,
even a 50-cent deck of cards from the truck stop. It's
exactly. And I've got a big tote thing full of that stuff, and that's the thing that a lot of people need to understand, especially if you have let's say children in your camp, which most of us are going to have, man, it's great entertainment for them to keep them, you can have a little contest, and stuff. And it's just great things to have. These are simple, cheap items you can buy that is going to go a long ways in a shift scenario, to just sit down and take your mind off of things and just color a freaking picture, man. I mean,
Yep. Yes, sir.
Wow, we got a few celebrities in the chat. We got Survival Living in here.
I know.
New York Outcast. Gary, good to see you, my brother.
What's going on?
So what is something else do you think would be a item that you should have prepped that would be a good relaxation item in a SHTF situation? What would y'all think would be good things to have prepped?
Balls.
Save that for after dark.
Ball.
I would definitely say for myself personally, music. Music motivates me and gets me going. So I have a huge stockpile of CDs.
Yeah, and well, my kids play music. They sing, they play guitar, drums, bass.
Someone says a massage table.
Yeah, right. After a long day of plowing the field, that would be great. But
Some of Hutch Homestead's private stuff.
Right? Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Yeah, it's shit hits the fan, bud. We ain't worried about that, the drug test and everything else. Huh? It's on.
Very true. That's actually a great point, man.
Just say,
and it's actually easier and safer to make than
Arkansas.
Arkansas. I think I'm getting some feedback from you there.
Yeah, he does. Arkansas, what? It's not that bad. Arkansas, what would you think is one of the a good item to have for a relaxation in a SHTF.
Well, I was gonna say music, but keto beat me to it. I guess something that would go along with that is, and I think somebody else in our community actually mentioned learning how to play an instrument and
Okay.
stuff.
Okay, nice. You can sit around and play a little music. Go ahead.
I just saw someone in the chat said harmonica. That's a good one. I have a
Mhm.
flute, and I mean anything like that. It's easy to learn to play it without even knowing music or anything, like a harmonica or a flute.
I'll tell you something that I actually have in my preps that is something I think would be so super valuable. Candy.
Mhm.
I have long-term storage candy. You
Dude.
know, them little strawberry, hard
Yeah.
strawberry candy. You know, cherry, the peppermint. Several different kind of. I have some taffy. Taffy stores a really long time. I have taffy. Huh?
Yeah. The Werther's original hard candies, they keep a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my buddy Survival Living just did a video about this the other day, and yeah, he talked about candy too, man. You know, he gets like the now and laters, but he seals them up.
Mm-hmm.
Those things will last quite a while too. Hopefully, I can get them on here.
That's a good one. Candy.
Candy. Man. I mean, dude, tell me seriously, dude. You know, it's bad. You've been working hard. Things are terrible. Yada yada. Man, you just get your break. Just get to pop a nice little piece of candy. You know, and you're just like, damn, this is good, man. I just think it would be relaxing. I mean, that was just one of my thoughts. You know.
No, you know, because those little luxuries now that we take for granted they're gonna be a big thing. You know, I mean, you barter for them. I mean, you know, I'll trade you, you know, a box of candy for, you know, a couple of eggs or whatever. You know what I mean? And I have a feeling we may end up coming back to something like that. You know, and a lot of people aren't prepared for it. In fact, I would say the majority of people, hell, even myself, it's like I don't come out and say I'm dangerous prepper, dangerous freedom, dude. I'm more on the patriot aspect, like my brother here. You know, I'm willing to go out, fight, and die to protect this nation at any cost. But yeah, but prepping is still part of that. It always has been since we were founded. I mean, the colonists. Can you imagine how our forefathers lived?
Yeah, self-sufficient.
Well, you know, like, if
go
I
ahead.
was going to try to go kill native right now, it's going to take me a whole lot of food to get there.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you got to think about. It's
Say you
kind of
better
hard.
pack a lunch.
I'll bring a lunch. I'll bring my own feathers.
Say he better pack a lunch for when he gets there, huh?
That's what I meant. You better pack a lunch.
Well, you understand what I'm saying, though, is it don't do you any good. You can have all the freedom seeds or whatever you want to call all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can have all that you want. If you don't have enough food to sustain you, you're still going to be relying on somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I want to add to that. Like, people ask me all the time. I don't know if it was on your chat, Native, that we talked about this, but people ask me all the time, how are you going to sustain keto if something happens? Well, if you think about it, keto is nothing but high fats and protein and vegetables. So technically, it's the way God intended us to eat in the first place. But what makes me think is, like, when people don't have the processed foods and, you know, their box foods and stuff, like, what is their mental status going to be then when they have to withdraw from man-made carbs and sugars? Like,
it's a transition.
It is. It's a huge transition, and mentally it messes with you.
Yeah,
So
your body gets to get used to it. When you change your diet that drastically, like when you cut out those processed sugars, man, it takes a long time for your body to get used to it.
Yeah.
That stuff's poison.
It is. So my thing is, like, I'm going to be fine because I don't eat that stuff. Like, it's not in my diet at all. But what's going to happen to everybody that does consume that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, go ahead, Arkansas.
No, I'm sorry. I don't want to talk over nobody. I just kind of
Well,
got to
well,
laugh.
I talked a bunch at the first of the show. Go ahead, brother.
Well, I was just gonna say, you know, I mean, that's one of the reasons that I don't get on there and talk about. I don't want to encourage anybody to buy like which I know, you know, survival living. I think he just commented. I think he posted it up there, and it may be something that me and him disagree on a little bit as far as the dehydrated food. I would like to have some of that freeze dried food, but if it's not something that I'm going to eat on a regular basis, I don't keep it. You know, I mean,
Right.
the stuff that I store for the most part, with an exception of a couple of different items, for the most part, it's all stuff that we eat, and I think that's important too. You know, I mean, and if you kind of keep that mantra as much as possible, you know, your diet's really not going to change. I would kind of like for somebody to have to knock on my door and tell me that the world was over.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of
be so far rural. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I think that's the awesome thing too, because I live like 10 miles outside of town. So like, unless I go into town, which I only go into town normally once a month, I'm not going to know if shit hits the fan unless I go into town or there's internet, you know, I'm not going to know. So I think mentally I'll be okay until I go into town and realize, oh crap.
Well, I would really like to again express to folks out there that are listening or that may not or whatever, that may watch this later, yada yada. So I would really like to express that just because you don't have very much money doesn't mean you can't be a good prepper. You know, there are certain ways that we can do things, and you know, I kind of made a little video about it and talked about it, and was talking about, you know, like right now, I looked it up on the internet there while we still got power and all that good stuff. You know, do you realize the average now, you know, of course, some people hardly even make this much, but the average money that people waste on junk, going out to eat, stopping at the convenience store, is $18,000. That is the national average, dude. 18 grand, man, on just junk that you don't need. You know what I'm saying? As survival living takes a big drink of Diet Dr. Pepper. Just giving you a hard time, brother.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Good to see you, brother.
But what I'm
How's it going?
What's going on, bro?
what I'm getting at is maybe somebody out there that eats out every day just because they're, you know, you just kind of want to be with the office personnel, yada yada. You want to be, you know, man, you can save so much money by eating leftovers. Go and buy some ham sandwiches. You know what? Suck it up a little bit now, and it'll pay off big time later on. You know,
Can't take away my Kentucky Fried Chicken.
well, I mean,
Learn to make your own.
That's right.
So, anyways, survival living, brother. I figured this would be a pretty good chat for you because you've actually been doing the things a long time as well, man. And by the way, everybody, if you haven't followed his channel yet, Survival Living, like seriously, he's got a lot of knowledge. I mean, and just amazing.
Yeah, sorry. I thought the joke was done. My bad. Hey, I didn't catch everything that Arkansas Living was saying. I was trying to answer the email link in. He was saying something about the dehydrated freeze-dried food, and from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, he said something about it's probably not good for you to jump to some type of diet that you're not used to. If I got that correct. If that's what he said, I do agree with him on that. We try to tell everybody to get a year to 2 years of normal canned goods, dry goods first. Those long-term food storage that's a 25-year shelf life. if you have that in your backup after you've already got your normal foods, that's why I push those after you got a year to 2 years, because unless you know how to garden, it's going to be difficult. But yeah, I do agree with them that shocking your system with freeze dried food, stuff like that, and you're not used to eating it. Just like, all right, when I was in the military, shove an MRE down your throat. You're not using the bathroom for a while. Okay, you're locked up. All right, so I do agree with that if that's what he was going at.
See, right there. I mean, most of the general populace has no idea that the MREs will do that to you.
Yep.
You know, everybody's pushing
Saves
it.
on
It's the
toilet
greatest.
paper.
Right. I mean, it just makes all the sense in the world. I mean, that's just that's gold information right there.
Might save on toilet paper, but you might get a bowel obstruction too.
True.
Well, that's where the laxatives and stuff come into your medical kits.
Yeah. And survival living. Also, on that note about prepping, for 25 years or whatever. Also, people don't realize even though I'm keto, I prep rice and beans. If it comes to a situation where I can't grow vegetables or I can't get my hands on the things that I need to eat for my lifestyle, you best believe I'm going to be eating some rice or beans,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people get upset and twisted out of shape on YouTube. Of course, healthy eating, healthy living is key, especially in survival and preparedness. All right, I'm still losing weight from when I got injured. It's been a rough journey for me. But having your body in tip-top shape is ideal. Now, you don't have to walk out like Arnold, run to the chopper. You don't have to look like that. Obviously, you're not going to be able to keep that muscle mass anyway if everyone's starving to death. But living healthy is definitely key. And like you said, if you can't get hold of something, at least you have it stored back, because when you get hungry, you'll eat dang near anything. I mean, I've had possum and everything, so possum's nasty. I'll be honest. It's greasy.
I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of
Sorry,
people on. Yeah, sorry. I've seen a lot of people, on these comments on the major and minor channels, and they ask a really lovely question. They're like, I'm a newbie. I want to learn how to prep, and I want to jump in there and say, do X, Y, and Z, but I don't know if you're in Alaska or if you're in Rhode Island or Texas, and if you're vegan or whatever to do. I mean, it's such a gambit of what could possibly happen. And I think that's also where a lot of the anxiety comes in, because these people are scared and they just literally don't know what's the first step in doing this. And I got on there and I said, being here now and watching and listening is a really good first step.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, between Patriot just did it was like maybe a month ago. He did a video about starting. If you don't have a lot of money, quit buying fast food. And then if you watch Survival Living's channel, he will show you, like, seriously, he does it every week. He does what he buys and puts in his rotation, and he gets a lot of food for almost nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and starvation is a huge, huge motivation. A lot of people don't know my backstory, but I grew up in a lot of poverty. There was a lot of times that me and my brother went without food, and we literally raided neighbors' gardens to be able to eat. So that was a huge motivation when I had this property and learned how to can and provide for myself. That was like, I was like, I can and I can cook this and I can do this. I'll never starve again in my life. And another thing is a tip for you guys is that, don't get me wrong, I love watching all of you preppers and learning stuff from YouTube, but I really like to go over to YouTube channels and like the Philippines and stuff, like really poor countries, and learn how they actually survive. And they're really going to teach you. I mean, they live in dirt poverty.
Yeah,
they really have some skills to pick up and learn on.
I was going to say, and one of the first things they always say is, Americans, don't give up your guns. But anyway,
yeah, throughout history.
But a trick with that is, if let's say you do live in Texas or Alaska, you would know that area better than anybody else in the world. So your preps are going to be in that area.
Right.
whether it's fish or vegetation or berries or whatever.
Mhm.
You know, we can also learn a lot from the Amish, and they're, you know, close. So
Yep. And to hit on your subject there about the your areas and stuff like you were talking about, you know, I get questions all the time. Hey, why don't you start showing edible plants? And my answer is my edible plants is different than yours. All right. when I
oh
was
yeah,
when I was a kid, I got an edible plant book in North Carolina when I was growing up there in the mountains, and it was about the western side of the United States. Did me no good where I was at in North Carolina. So you just need to, I mean, do some searches. There's a lot of good information online while we have power and internet. Start
right.
researching material.
I'm in North Carolina, and I can tell you, there's a lot of things in the mountains that they don't have here in Central.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
So yeah,
That's
it's definitely grid yourself out a good 30, 40, even 100 miles. That can be done easily. Couple
most
day
certainly,
trip on foot, you can do it and look at what's around you.
well. That's why I brought up, earlier in the live stream here that how I prep is completely different than the way Dangerous preps. I mean, we have completely different climates. We have different areas. Just like you said, different edible plants. Stuff that you can and can't eat. You know,
I
um,
not to cut you off, brother, but I wanted to ask Survival Living, since he just came in here, about our original topic about the fake preppers.
I got a video coming out. Yeah, I was doing, I'm doing the outdoor survival stuff now on my channel.
Yeah.
So I got a video coming out tomorrow where I address a little bit of that because the last couple of weeks I have been talking about this. Not, I don't get into the whole calling out channels and stuff like that, but I've been
Right.
talking about people need to really look at what they're watching. All right, I did see the video today by another channel. I'm pretty sure that's what the topic's on. And I agree with a lot of what he says on a lot of different things because I know a lot of people personally as a YouTube creator. I network with a lot of people. And when they're calling me up and asking me about prepping, and then they come out with a video on that topic that I just got off the phone with them and they say word for word and act like they're an expert,
Wow.
that's when you sit back and go, really, dude, or
Yeah.
gal, whatever. I've seen it. And I'm not saying I know everything. I don't. I'll be the first to say I don't know anything. I mean, everything. Some things. I have selective amnesia, so I forget it at the right time when I'm being called out on something.
you must
No,
be married.
yeah, it's marriage survival. Okay,
Right
that's
on.
what it is.
Sorry, but didn't
But
mean to be a
yeah,
wise ass. That's for after dark.
yeah, there we go. So I do know that there are some out there, and I'm not wanting to jump on and start beating the horse on with this person here said this person there said that. That just causes more drama. And I have noticed as a YouTube creator that even though everyone says they don't like drama, guess
Lot
what
of-
video gets viewed the most? Yeah.
Man,
But it just causes too much strife in my own life where I just don't deal with it. I just start blocking people. And I had to block a racist one on mine the other day, man. It's just every chance he got to comment, he had to put something on there. And I'm like, I try to ignoring a person because usually I always answer everyone that hits me, but I just ignored, and finally I'm like, you know what? Delete. I'm done with you. You just will not stop. So,
Now, are these
you
like
got to be
isolated
nice.
incidents? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to walk over you, but are these isolated incidents, or are these like we'll take your idea and do it several times and then from other creators, or is it just an individual thing?
Okay, I must have missed that. Are you saying someone's copying videos?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've had that happen too, but I want to say that every idea has been done pretty much. As a writer, and I'm not no big time published novelist. I'm a self published. Every idea when I come to write something, it's been done in a way. I just have to put my own spin onto a story. So YouTube really does have all that. But usually, if I grab an idea from somebody, I watch the video. I'm like, man, that's a good idea. I'll do a video on it. I've always went and said, hey guys, I was just watching this channel over here. They did a video on such and such. I've always done that. And unfortunately, I have had that happen quite a bit. And you know what? I've actually taken some videos from other people, ideas. But I've always said it's like our Truther Coalition parody videos, my comedy crap. I got that from Canadian Prepper when he used to do that All American Prepper funny stuff. And I made sure I told everybody, hey, I got this idea from this guy. But copying, I guess, in a way, is a form of flattery or whatever, the niceness of it. But you should always say, hey, I got this idea from this video so-and-so did. I just want to add on to it or something like that.
It's just being
pretending
honorable.
that you know what you're talking about. Yeah, just grabbing an idea and acting like you're the one to come up with it because you are all of a sudden really smart.
Right.
You can read between the lines on a lot of stuff. I'm like,
All right, so now,
all right, guys.
From the videos I've seen within the last week or two, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it is a big thing, The go ahead, Arkansas. Go ahead and speak, brother. You've been kind of quiet down there.
No. It's fine. Y'all go ahead. I'm out here in the dark cooking stuff. Y'all carry on this.
I know you ain't scared of me.
He's scared.
My
I just saw his fire starting video. I just saw his fire starting video on his channel. I put down. I saw Dangerous on it last night. I was laughing in bed. I was already in bed. I was sitting there watching. Look at this wannabe redneck with a lighter.
Right.
I can't help it. I am a country boy redneck, so I can say that. But dude, it was freaking awesome. I was sitting there watching. I'm like, all right, what is he up to? Because I know better than this. And then he brought out the big lighter there. I'm like, oh, makes sense.
And then I had to
save your time.
I got to pee on it. Well, I only had 5 minutes I only had 5 minutes to record the entire thing, and I'm like, I'm not going to be out here striking this thing for 5 minutes. No,
of course not.
Well,
there's nothing wrong with storing up Bic lighters. I've got a bunch of them. Every single one of them's got duct tape on them. These things are great. I just learned how to do the flint steels and everything else just because in case I break one and I don't have a spare. I've actually sat down on my lighter because it's in my back pocket like a moron. And then I was like, oh, crap, I can't light a cigarette. Which, yeah, I still smoke. But, yeah, it's good to have no matter what.
I was on with Dangerous and Lost Product this morning, and he said, yeah, Prepper Wizard's gotten on here. I saw him lurking in the chats for a while, and then all of a sudden he got on here and started spouting off his mouth. But I will tell you, there's one person in the panel that got me the courage to get on here and start, putting, forth a little bit of knowledge. And when I saw this video, it was funny. And it was like, I said I'm going to do something, so I'm going to do it. And as you, Arkansas, because when you had that little barbecue outside of your motel that night, that was a game changer for me.
Well, see, and that's
I'm glad it was, man. That's cool.
That's freaking awesome. That's what this has got to be about, man. It's that, you're trying a little knowledge you got. And, again, maybe I watch something Survival Living does and I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. I might have a few more a few different subscribers than he has, that don't know Survival Living. And as long as I say, hey man, I saw this on Survival Living's channel, and this is something I know how to do real well as also, and so here's what I'm going to show you what, he did, talk about what he did. I'm going to show you what I do here. That's, to me, that's okay. But me going over there and just saying, well, so by the way, I'm this great smart guy and let me show you how to do this, that's just kind of, let's give credit to one another. I've learned so much off of every single one of you guys, man, except for Dangerous. But anyway, so I'm kidding, Dangerous.
You learn
I know how not to use a ferro rod.
Right?
I had to do that one, brother. I'm just picking on him. That's all.
I learned how to twerk, so.
No, you're not supposed to be watching the trending now videos on YouTube. Okay, don't watch those.
No, I was there that night.
Did I send you that link, brother, to that video? I think I did. The one where it had the BGs and I'm in my body armor. I'll have to send that to you.
I'm still talking to my therapist.
Yeah, I don't
about
think
that
I've
video
got that.
dungeon.
Oh, okay, I'll send it to you, dude. You get a rise out of it.
No,
Well,
but you
not a
know,
rise. You'll get a laugh out of it.
the whole point of each one of the individuals, you know, and people and Prepper Wizard, you know, I mean, you know, you've got knowledge, you know, there might be something that you come out with and you're talking about, and I'm like, wow, I do that, but I do it this way, and it's been kind of hard. Man, he made it easy, you know, and it's just maybe a step or two that you do differently that you figured out that helps me in the long run, you know. And I want to tell you something. This may sound bad or stingy, I don't know, or whatever, and it's okay, but the more people that we help to get prepped for a shit hits the fan scenario, the less people we got to deal with.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah,
This is
absolutely.
This is something everybody needs to take this into consideration. If you guys out there in the chat, or you guys that may listen to this later down the line, guys, if you got some knowledge, put it out there, man. Put it out there. The more people we can get involved in this, and the more simple we can make it for people, the more people that will get involved in it. So the less people we got to deal with when shit
Right.
hits.
And I also think that those people that are going to take away something, you know, in our hearts, they're not going to suffer.
Yeah.
That's what's just
Yeah,
killing
I've had,
me, because it's kind of hard for me to sit here all warm and cozy with my belly full, you know, and there's somebody outside that I got to be scared of, and they got little ones, you know. It's just, that's the shit that hits the fan that really like keeps me up at night.
Yeah, that's a scenario there that's going to have to lay on an individual. I wish I've had people ask me that question before. Are you going to fire upon, you know, kids? You're going to fire upon a woman with her kids and all that stuff. That's an individual choice. I can never tell anybody what to do in that scenario.
Right.
I do know that my family and my family's safety is going to be a priority over everything.
Right.
But it's one of those scenarios that it's going to happen for me to make a decision on that. I can't say right now while I'm sitting here all nice and quietly going, oh yeah, that I'd never do that, or yes, I would do that. I won't know until I got there. But on that topic about the you know, the ideas and stuff like that, guys, like I said, all ideas have been done. Now when it comes to like news articles and stuff like that, that's pretty much free game, because that's just articles everyone's grabbing and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I always try to say, hey, I just watched this at so and so's channel. They did a great job. I got some ideas too. And you know, it's just respect. You know, it really is.
Absolutely.
I know I'm a jerk, and I always give the Dangerous there a hard time, and I'm gonna start giving Arkansas a hard time just because. But you know,
Just come on. I ain't worried about it.
I'm gonna come at you, bro. When I heard him say that, I about fell out of my chair. Come at me. I'm like, what in the world is that? I've never heard that phrase before. Not in that way. That was new.
I got a couple of points I'm gonna make, and I'm just about to get this meat off the grill and stuff, and have to get off here. But I would like to say a couple of things if y'all got just a minute.
Native, you sleep over there, Native?
What's that, Wizard?
Hold on. Arkansas is making a couple points here really quick.
Yeah, I think he's
Smells
lagging.
good.
Yeah, I always lag. When I'm on my phone on StreamYard, I always lag real bad.
It's all right. Go ahead, Arkansas.
Well, I was just going to, I wanted to, the stuff that Joe was talking about copying other people and different things like that, there's a difference between copying somebody and trying to take advantage of their knowledge for stuff on YouTube or some stupid crap like that. And there's a difference between doing that and learning from them. And I think that's the same thing that y'all are trying to say. It's just like, you know, like a lot of the stuff that Corporal's Corner does, I've already been doing for a long time before I found his channel. And I've learned some stuff from him as far as, you know, playing around in the woods and stuff like that. I've changed I've changed the way that I do my ridge lines and stuff like that for my tarps and different things like that when I'm playing around in the woods because his works better. So why not? And you know, I mean, I tried it and it worked.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that aspect of it. But you know, and like y'all said a minute ago, you know, like if I go out in the woods and I build a tarp shelter and I build a fire and I start playing around and doing some stuff and showing y'all how I'm whittling some stuff around and stuff like that, and how we used to make some spring snares traps as a kid or something, and you know, and if I'm stringing up a tarp, you know, stringing up a ridge line or something like that, and I'm gonna be like, hey, I learned this from Corporal Corner's channel. Y'all go watch Corporal Corner's channel because he come up with it.
Right.
You know, and one other thing too, survival living, the stuff that we were talking about the food and stuff like that earlier. I think me and you are on exactly the same page about that. I still want some freeze-dried food. I don't have any just because it's expensive. I've got a whole bunch of stuff in my Mylar bags and buckets, you know, and that kind of thing. But I do want some. I was just saying that it's for me at this point in my life financially, I just try to keep stuff that I use, you know.
Yeah, I completely understand that. And
but
yeah, we just started buying those you know, like last year, but that's only because we already had food put back. We hit 1 year supply for 2 people before we even got into that, man. And the thing is, you got to make it through that first year to 2 years. And if you know how to grow food, you're not going to have to worry about long-term food well, it depends on what scenario it is. I mean, if it's a environmental effect, like, you know, the great big asteroid that took out all the dumbasses and took all the dinosaurs out. Yeah, you might be eating freeze-dried ice cream and stuff like that for a while. But yeah, I agree with you. Those freeze-dried foods, man. I mean, we are part of, you know, stuff with that. But even that, I've always said, get the normal foods first. It's a lot cheaper. You can buy a year's supply of normal food, canned goods, dry goods, for a fraction of a cost of a year supply of long term. And I don't care what company you go with, it's outrageous. I mean, I'm talking about a fraction of the cost. So, and Best By dates are just Best By dates. Okay, now watch out for expiration dates. Follow those. When they say expires by, don't really play around with that. If you get sick, you're screwed. Okay, so just don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's just like off-brand green beans and corn, canned green beans and corn were on sale. I think they were like 38 cents a can or something like that. So my wife brought home several flats of them a little while ago. We're trying to figure out where to put those. But
underneath the bed.
Yeah, hey, under the bed,
you can take
closet, in the laundry room,
take your drywall down, shove it in between the studs, and put your drywall back up.
Yeah,
just think of it as extra bulletproofing.
Well, we were talking about getting another storage building, but we were trying to pack freezers. Our freezers are all full. We were trying to figure out where we were going to put all the meat and stuff because we've got Brookshire's grocery stores down here, and they started that buy one get one for a penny stuff again. So I mean, she come home with like, I don't know, 6 or 7 roasts and a bunch of beef and a whole bunch of different stuff. So our freezers are all full and trying to figure out where to put stuff. But
you have to have the barbecue cookout in your area.
Yeah, giant barbecue cookout.
You're gonna have all kind of new friends.
Yeah.
You got you a backup generator?
I've got a 4. I think.
That'll work.
As far as a permanent standby backup generator, I install those, but I don't necessarily recommend them. we don't have one at our house for a couple of reasons.
Okay. Native and Keto. You two are original guests on the panel. New York Outcast said it's good to know several ways to get the same result. You never know what you have to work with. Would y'all like to touch on that? Each one of y'all, y'all can decide on who goes. I would pick the ladies to go first. That's
If she would like.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with that statement. Everybody's going to prep a different way. Just like Patriot said earlier, everybody lives in a different region of the country, so nobody's going to prep like I am. And like, I am on a homestead, so I have animals and things to worry about, and I am an avid gardener. So it's easier for me to stock up things, you know, from my garden or from my animals than it would be for somebody that lives in a city that has to buy their food. So it just depends on your situation and your scenario.
okay.
Yeah.
So
I think with that, having like prepping redundancies is something that we do, and like we don't just prep one thing for water, you know, one thing for food, one thing for protection, all these different things. And so prepping those redundancies, I mean, when you're talking about watching different channels to get a different perspective on how they filter their water, and if you're in a shift scenario, you never know what's going to happen and where you might have to bug out to. You might go to a location, you prepped for your location, now you're in a new location. You need to know how to obtain water that way. Because I know, Patriot, 3%, you're talking about how you live near a huge lake. Like going and getting water from there is very good resource. But knowing how to get that water and filter it might be something different from someone who, like earlier, we were talking about people who have wells. You know, and getting that water or gathering rainwater like we were talking about, all these different ways to get water and filter it and all these different things. So absolutely.
Okay. Very
I
great point.
was going to say to that, what New York said is that it's actually, I was kind of trying to think a little deeper into it of the fact of, let's say that I'd planned to filter my water with sand and such, you know, and charcoals and rocks and all this kind of stuff. You know, something may happen to where you are cut off from that type of resource. You know what I'm saying? So knowing 4, 5, 6 different ways to filter water, you know, is more, I think, more beneficial. You know, just don't get stuck in the mindset, or don't listen to one person that says do it this way right here. Awesome. Don't get stuck in that mindset. Don't get stuck in that way of, you know, this is the only way to do it, because you could find yourself that for whatever reason it may be, that way of doing it may not be available to you in a shift situation, because, you know, so knowing several different ways to achieve the same result, you know, in a shift situation, you may find, you know, like I said, you were going to do it this way, but you, for whatever reason, this can't happen. But now I know 4 other ways to do this, you know, and this
I'm a firm believer Texas has that exact thing going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. So, you know, that's.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
somebody just posed, yeah, like even making charcoal, Angela, yeah, making charcoal is important.
Would anybody else like to touch on that? I mean, Survival or Arkansas or y'all?
Arkansas, we're getting some feedback from you there, bro.
Well, I just walked back up to the phone. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
Just picking them up. I think you've pretty much covered it just fine. I mean, just like you said, having multiple ways of achieving the exact same goal. You shouldn't put everything in one basket. Just like we don't put all of our stored food in one area. We don't. We split up all of our stuff. That way, if anything happens, we have supplies in multiple locations. I mean, you just don't want to put everything. This is like I bleeped out for a second. Just like taking your water and just saying, "Well, I got a Sawyer mini filter. I got a big Berkey." Okay, but if the only thing you have is a big Berkey, good luck trucking that thing through the woods if you got to evacuate.
Right.
You know, you need to have multiple ways and multiple knowledges to do things. So yeah, absolutely.
And I want to kind of build on that because I live in an urban environment and I have my stores here and my ideas for my place right here in the city. But then what if we have to go somewhere else? Now you have to downsize all of that stuff to travel. And believe me, what you got to carry is not going to be what you have in your stores. So if you have a year supply, you're going to be able to take a month with you. So that's another seer. You're like a SHTF inside of an SHTF.
Right. Yeah.
I have a question. Does anybody actually plant stashes around their town?
I'll just say yes.
Dashes.
Not at all.
I'll just leave it there. I'm not going to go into too much detail.
No, I don't want detail. I just wondered if people actually do that.
Yeah.
We got to kind of keep some kind of OPSEC here. I mean, granted, I want to help people out as much as we can.
I'm going to get UPS coordinates right now to all around.
You don't know.
You'll find all my spam.
But like, you got to make sure, like Survival Living, dude, he's probably got freaking a map of like 20 miles or better that he's probably got stuff. So,
Well, I was just curious.
I plead the fifth.
I've never heard anybody talk about it before. I mean, that's something that people need to think about too, that is just getting into prepping. Those are things people don't talk about. You don't have to tell them where your stashes are or anything, but
no.
I mean, it's a good idea to have a backup plan. So if you are on the run, you have a location that you can get extra supplies.
Well, yeah, Survival Living actually did say it, a minute ago. He said not keeping all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
That's
definitely it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty well said. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket, and you also have to take into consideration now. Keeping a bug out or get home style bag is very important, and the reason that I say this, let's say you have two locations. I'm just bringing up a scenario. You got two locations that you have storage, and you have to leave where you're at and leave some of your stuff behind. If you have, you have to, I'll just say the way that I do it in my bag, I make sure that I have enough stuff to help me to survive for double the time that it would take for me to get to my other locations. And the reason I say that is you may not have that straight path forward. That may be blocked. You may have to take a long way around. So I have at least double what it would take me to get to my next location, because like I said, there may be something keeping you from, man, it takes me 3 days to get to where my next food supply. So I'm going to put 3 days worth of food supply in my bug bag. Well, okay. What if you've got to go a long way around and it takes you 6 days to get there?
Yeah.
That's, in my opinion, this is things that I've thought about. But
no, that's just smart.
Yeah.
That's definitely a smart way of doing it.
If you're doing it in the SHTF situation, there's going to be dozens or hundreds that are doing the same thing, and if they're standing in your way, you got to be like basically a ninja just to get away from it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point.
You were going to say something, Survival?
Yeah. I mean, I was just agreeing with you there. Back when we first started our channel, we were living outside Orlando there, and we had our bug out location. We had a resupply area drops that we've already put along the routes. We had multiple routes of going. I know it's not ideal for bug out. I still believe everyone should still have an evacuation plan. And you need to have it stocked. You need to have a way to get to it. Like you said, well, what if this way's blocked? All right, you need to have multiple routes. All right, so $40 worth of food in a 5-gallon bucket stashed somewhere. Depends on where you live at, where you can do with it. I mean, we put a lot of stuff in the ground. We've done videos on that, and it's just you need to be able to get to supplies. All right, if you got a bug out location, do you have logistics as far as supplies along the way? I had wrote in the comment earlier, logistics of having a armed force. You got to be able to supply them, or it's just not going to be there. I mean, you see a lot of stuff online where, oh, we'll all get together, we'll do this, we'll do that. Okay, well, who's supplying you? You're not going to last if you don't have backup. And I mean, you have to have a lot of stuff. You got to have a medical team. There's a lot of stuff. If you're planning on doing this massive movement, you've got to have logistics backing it up. It's one thing just to defend your home. I get that 100%. I completely agree. You need to have protection. But some of the stuff that's been spouted around on the internet, I'm like, where'd y'all learn that? Modern warfare, or where'd you get that? You know, it's not trying to be rude and crude. It's just some of the stuff I see, like you were talking about. It takes you 3 hours, but I mean 3 days. But what if it takes 6 days? Exactly. You need to try to have those contingency plans just for that reason. And it just takes time and planning. I mean, nothing's ever perfect the first time around. There's always mistakes. And again, take your gear out. You've got to test out that gear. We did a recent video on our channel, man. It's one of those expensive tactical shovels. Dude, those things are very expensive. I got that thing, you know, I'm not affiliated with them. They just send it to me to check it out. I was impressed with it, but I saw a lot of people, well, that's a lot of money for a shovel. I completely agree with you. I even said that on the video. I was just showing the product. Yeah, I was just showing the product. I didn't say anybody had to have it, but so many people get hung up on certain aspects, and that's it. Yeah. Especially in the, you know, I make jokes of the gun culture. It's just like Chevy owners and Ford owners. Mine's better than yours, no matter what, you know. So there's always an argument. Yeah, there's always an argument where people get hung up on the little detail that really doesn't even matter. Instead of looking at what needs to be done, they get hung up on one little thing. Well, I drive a Chevy and you talk crap about a Ford. How dare you? Who cares? Just move forward on what needs to be done here.
All right.
Well, that's I guess I really should rename how I say it from bug out to evacuation bag, because I'm not bugging out until I have no other choice. Exactly. You know what it's I'm staying here. I'm staying where I'm at. If it gets bad enough that I know I am going to be overrun, there is no doubt about it. I have no chance of survival in my family because of too many
whatever forces coming at you.
Yeah, advancing on me. Then yes, I have evacuation plans. I call them bug out. So yeah, I probably need to. That's a great word to use. Survival evacuation plan instead of bug out. For me,
it's just a stipulation on people. Everyone put on bug out. You know the phrase back 10 years ago when The Walking Dead was real big and the zombie apocalypse was coming on us. Everybody had their bug out gear, and bug out was a thing. You know, but it's still part of prepping. Okay, bugging out. And I just use evacuation because it just makes it easier to talk to somebody about it. Because as soon as I say bug out, I get nothing but stonewalled. I am not leaving. When we get up to Wyoming, when we start homesteading there, I'm in the middle of nowhere, but I still have to have an evacuation plan in case I get overrun or in case something seriously happens and there's no way out of it. I've got to have a way to remove my family from a threat. So that I just started recently using evacuation because it worked easier trying to talk to people about preparedness and stuff because there's such a stigma on a lot of things. And unfortunately, a lot of it is due to the internet. I call them jackleg. I mean, maybe they know a guy named Jack. I don't know. But anyway, it's just it's frustrating. But like I said, I don't know everything. I talk to preppers all the time online. I talk to other YouTube channel guys and gals about things and stuff, ideas. Networking is key, but you also want to keep your OPSEC on everything. You don't want to sit there and bring in somebody. I remember when I first started my channel, I brought that one dude in, said he was a police officer. Turns out he was a fraud, and yeah, he knew where I lived. So I don't let people come to my house anymore. I was going to help him get his YouTube channel started and all this stuff, and yeah, that turned out that could have got really bad really quick. So I learned a lot from the internet stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah,
It-
I'll add on to that because down here I've reached out and I've been fortunate. I didn't have somebody claiming that they were something they weren't. Everybody that I've met down here has been totally honest. We've been out to the firing range, and they're solid people. But yeah, it's not that difficult, man, for somebody to be like, oh, I'm this and I'm that. We need to hook up, and we could do this and that for each other, and it sucks that happened to you, but yeah.
Well, lesson learned. It was one of those situations where I just be careful more so than others. Later on, man, it's just one of those life experiences that luckily didn't cost me nothing. I was able to catch the issue early on and be able to deal with it. But yeah, it was an eye opener real quick that somebody was actually posing as a police officer, talking all this prep and stuff, and yeah, they weren't. As a matter of fact, he was a prison guard, is what he was.
You were going to also, I think you were going to say something a second ago.
I was just gonna build on what Survival Living was talking about, making a plan. Like when he's talking about everyone's going to bug out or have a bug out bag, or they're going to have an evacuation. And actually, when you plan something out like that, a lot of people forget map skills, man. Is important to know. Because you might not have GPS. You might not be a cell phone signal. And knowing how to actually look at your map, find your location, and you're going to need a compass. So you better start practicing now how to orient your compass to your map. What if in the middle between you and your bug out location, you run into marauders or something, and you have to bug out from there, and now you don't know where you are. How are you going to find your position on the map again and shoot your azimuth to where you're? All that stuff is important.
Well, hey, I actually made which I know, a lot of us, we don't go back and look at each other's old videos. It's hard enough just to keep up with everybody's new videos, right? But
oh yeah, it is.
Right.
When I first started doing this stuff, I was trying to kind of make some stuff for my kids, and I made a video about how to use a base plate compass and how to walk in a straight line and shoot an azimuth, and and how to orienteer your map, and just really, really basic orienteering stuff, just so that my kids would know how to do it.
Yep.
And and I'm probably fixing to have to get off here. I was wanting to ask Voice something right quick though. I was going to do something that I was fixing to send to you. I've been telling you I was going to send you feathers for a long time. Well, they're still riding around with me in this truck, and of
course
I was fixing to make something with them, but I was going to drill holes in them. Is it bad to drill holes in them as far as your culture and stuff like that goes?
I mean, that's not offensive to me. I mean, I don't know about other native peoples, but my people know. But you mean drilling holes through like the stem of the feather?
Well, I'll just go on and tell you what I was going to do. I'll just send you the feathers, and I just won't even do it.
And then you can do a video of how you actually set them up so you can clip them in your hair and everything.
Well, I was gonna string them together and make a face mask out of them and make a funny video about it and then put them in a box and send them to you. But I'll just
you don't have to do that, man.
I'll just send you the feathers.
All right. It's the owl feathers that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. I appreciate you, brother.
Like Native was just saying there, maps, and also Arkansas Living covered it too. My recommendation to everybody is to start prepping as if there is no GPS, there is no internet. If you have the basics covered, if you get internet, hey, that's awesome. You can use GPS and they can GPS you too. But just go ahead and plan on not having any of that. If you have the luxury of it, that's great. You got one step up, but make sure, like everyone here was saying, learn those skills. I don't know how well you are about shout outs to other channels that ain't here, but there's a YouTuber. He's been on for a while, man. He covered he covered
Prep
maps
like
very
it's
well. He's former military, and
before.
I can hear you.
Do what now, Prepper Wizard?
Well, I mean, like even with my ham radio, dude, I watched that. What's that one? Crash Course in Ham Radio. Yeah, I don't have a problem with you shouting out other channels, man. I mean, I do it all the time on mine. Like I shout you out, like fairly often. So
I'm good.
Yeah, I knew someone was calling me out again. No, Black Scout Survival. His early footage, his early videos, and I tell a lot of people get upset about the larger channels, but if you go back to their early videos when they first started, they were showing. I mean, they showed what they knew. He's got some great land navigation with maps videos. Check those out. Those are dead spot on. I was impressed. So if someone's just getting into it, trying to learn it, check those out. If you've never been around any type of maps, ever trying to navigate with maps, check. I mean, he walks you through the stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of good big time YouTubers that started off with great information. Sure, they got bigger now, and now they start, their sales and stuff like that. Hey, they made it. So I never dog anybody for that, because if I can go back to their old videos and see that they actually know what they're talking about, I'll listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Black Scout.
But yeah, and we could go back to what Patriot was saying earlier about, a lot of them, they once they get there, it's like, oh, you need to buy this, and you're not going to survive without that, and
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I mean, I agree with Patriot. Yeah, I don't agree with getting big and then say you cannot survive without this such and such Molly Web and blah blah blah. No. Now, if you're trying to sell something to show something, that's fine. I'm cool with that. But if you're going to tell me I can't live without it, and I've never even heard of it before, I'm 42 years old. I've been doing just fine. But anyway, yeah, I agree that you shouldn't ever say you can't live without this, because mankind has lived a long time before technology, and they've always found a way. So you just have to relearn those skills.
Well, see, one of the things I wanted to touch on with that map thing, so I worked in the gas field for a long time, getting natural gas out of the ground for a little over 10 years. And there were gas wells out in the middle of nowhere. Well, out in the middle of nowhere, you don't got cell phone signal, right? Well, we had to use maps, and they would just go like, the well's here, and just point on the map. Man, I was shocked at the people that could not read a map. They had no clue what to do.
Yeah.
And they was like, well, they're trying to type it in. It's like, it's not working. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, we've got a map right here. And they're just like, well, I don't know how to read a map. And I'm like, I mean, come on, this is something that, I taught a lot of people how to read a map. I was the navigator for a long time, until I got some people kind of trained up, and then I would let them navigate so they could sharpen their skills. I get days off like everybody else. I'm not always going to be there at work every day. And what I wanted to say in that is that, obviously, yes, it is imperative. It's crucial to learn how to read maps. And the other thing I wanted to say is that there seems to be a lot of people with a lot of time on their hands. I'm one of them. I make things happen around here to, start little projects and stuff. But one thing that I wanted to express in this is that, there's a lot of people with a lot of time on your hands. Take your map and look at a destination that's 10 miles out. Maybe even just, maybe start simple, 5 miles out from your house. Look at that map. That way you're not too far away from your house. 5 miles, you're going to kind of know the area so you don't get lost. Go out and search out, and pick a destination and go, okay, I'm gonna travel here today. Okay, you're going to do it in your car right now. I understand that. But go out there, and also there is hiking trails, there is all kinds of cool stuff out there, these parks and stuff like that. And then go out and take that map that you got and go on these hiking trails. A lot of these hiking trails are clearly marked for you so you won't get lost. But then take your map and walk up and down these hiking trails and look at where you are in general location of where you're at on the map. And it will help teach you, it will help develop your map reading skills. This is something that you can do simply, that can help you. And I yield if somebody wants to.
I just want to say something real quick. I gotta get off here and take a phone call. I appreciate
All right.
everybody,
All right.
and hope I'll jump on here again.
Thank you. All right. So, what does anybody want to touch further on that with? Mike can put a little more insight even than what I was talking about with going out to. With we got a lot of time on our hands. A lot of people do.
Yeah.
These days.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, definitely. If no one else is going to jump in.
Go ahead, Survival.
Good, brother.
Okay. Real fast, guys. I know it's real hard to get topographical maps and stuff like that of local areas. That one of the tricks I've picked up and I went ahead and started doing with our area, we started blowing up a 20-mile section around us, and we go to Google Maps. Okay, we bring up the satellite feed. We print off by grid. We go and grid it out. We do topographic. We do satellite feed. We do the street levels. Now with street levels, if you're blown in real close, you will have the listing of businesses around you, things like that. So when you actually start driving around and stuff, you can actually start labeling. I'm not saying be a marauder, but you're labeling resources in your area. And now that you have everything categorized in a map scenario, you got a 20-mile grid around you. You know what the land looks like. So when everything goes out and you don't have a local map of your area, you've already got that stuff printed off. You've already can laminate it, whatever you want to do. You know what can be moved in your area due to the landscape alone.
That's a good idea. Also, you can get topographical maps from your local forestry service for free.
So that's a lot easier. That's a lot easier. Because I'll tell you, man, I spent countless hours putting these things together. And then when we moved, hey, I don't need that one in Apopka, Florida anymore outside Orlando. I'm not planning on going back to Central Florida anytime soon. But yeah, I didn't know about the...
But that's a good idea, Survival, what you said about zooming in to get the names of like the businesses and streets and stuff. I didn't know you could do that. That's an excellent idea.
When you zoom in close enough, Google automatically starts labeling all your businesses. Now, that could be took as, well, he's planning on marauding and looting and stuff like that. I'm just saying during SHTF for resources, if there's something going on, you already know what's in the area.
Just recon, just knowing what's around you.
There you go. There you go.
Exactly. Well, and that's kind of the thing. Yes, you can. Love you, Prepping Plumber, man. He's awesome.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yes,
everybody keeps saying we got such a great panel here, and we do. But you know what? We have a really great chat over here too.
That's amazing. Yeah, there's some good folks in there tonight.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, what I was going to say, yeah, you actually can Google Maps and Google Earth. Man, you can me and Dangerous and do stuff with Nikki one day. We were just sitting in a backstage deal like this, just shooting the bull, you know what I'm saying? And we got to talking about that. And so we pulled up Google Earth on our deal right there on the computer, through my screen sharing it, and dude, you can see not only the street names, it shows you street addresses, it shows you, I mean, freaking ponds. You can see, they've got a deal that you can click and tells you the distance from like your house to that pond over there, from your house to that store. It you know, straight line, you know what I'm saying? But
Sorry,
what we
guys.
call,
My wife is pulling up. I got to jump off here.
okay, survival.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you so
hey
much.
man, thanks for hanging out, man.
Brother.
Dude, really appreciate it.
That was awesome.
Absolutely, man. Sorry, I got to leave.
Oh, it's
And
fun,
don't
bro.
forget that survival living.
I put up the
posted that.
link.
So, yeah.
Have a good night, Survival.
I don't know if I got that.
I put up the link a while ago.
I did too. I don't think
007.
this is the right one.
So anyway, what I was getting at was that, you know, you can actually do this, and you know, the library. I don't know. I didn't catch what you. I was trying to read something in chat. Did you mention library native a while ago?
No, you taught the where to get the topographical maps.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's if you go to your local like forestry service, like wherever your county district is. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you can, right, exactly. Well, a lot of your local libraries also have where you can go in there and look this stuff up. They have all this on hard drive and stuff, yada yada.
Okay.
You can go in there and they have printers, and it may cost you a couple of bucks, but you know, if you can't afford to go out and buy a printer and all this stuff, you know, you can actually go to the library as well and find a lot of this information, and you can actually have it printed off for, seem like maybe it's a couple of bucks or something. I mean, it doesn't cost much, and that's another way, you know, to you know what I'm saying. So yeah, it's just another option. But yeah, the definitely the forestry commission too. Yes, great idea.
Awesome.
Prepping outside the box.
POTB in the house.
Peeing outside the box. Peeing. That's old peeing. I'm gonna see a middle finger next, I'm sure.
Okay.
So I mean, is there some other things y'all want to touch on this stuff? Something on your mind, you know, that you want to bring up on prepping and doing this kind of stuff? I think this has been
actually there was one thing, but I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. I know it's my channel, but you know, I wanted to go back to, like, you know, you may know a certain way of doing something, but you know, you might watch another video and be like, oh wow, that's way easier. I went through that when I started carpentry. I did a lot of that because like my father-in-law got me into it, and he's like, there's 50 ways to frame and 25 of them are correct. And it's just, you got to find what's easiest for you, because, you know, I'm kind of a short guy. So, you know, like the way I do things and is going to be different than a guy that's like 6'5", you know what I mean? Different gravity, different leverage. I mean, granted, I've got really, really good leverage, but yeah, just things like that come into play. And actually, I got a crazy story. Okay, so we were doing this 2-story house one time, and the front wall, the Great Wall, was 22 and a half feet tall, and it was like it was like a 20-foot section. It was all 2x6 construction, had triple studs and double trimmers. and freaking windows in it, and there's 5 of us. Yeah, there were 5 of us trying to lift this thing, and we should have had a crane or at least a sky lift, something, to come and try and help us. So we tried to lift this thing, and so what we do is we all started at the very top of it. We got it up, and then and we just kept doing that, and I got almost down to the center of this thing, and then all of a sudden it's like starts jacking back on us, and I'm like, holy shit, this thing is coming down. I am not kidding you. Dude, there was a 3x4 window above the doorway. I was able to duck into when that thing came down. It hit so hard, it snapped the hammer handle off of my tool bags, dude. It was pretty freaking crazy, dude. So
yeah.
There's one other funny story I want to tell really quick because the other night we were talking about some of the stuff we've done. That's right. I sent Prepping Outside the Box. If he checks his email, maybe he'll pop in here. But anyways, we got this new condo, and anyways, one night or one morning, my sister left a note for me. It's like, hey, will you do the dishes? And I'm like, okay. So I go down there and I pour the soap in there, and I go ahead and turn it on. And then about 20 minutes later, one of my buddies comes down. He's like, hey, Ron, get down here. Get down here. And I'm like, what's going on? I go down there. It's like something out of I Love Lucy, dude. The entire kitchen had about 5 inches of freaking foam all over it because it was just spitting out of the dishwasher. I used the wrong freaking soap, dude. Oh.
Fun times.
All right. So, Anarchy Television has a great question. What kind of tools do you guys prep? Like wrenches, screwdrivers, sockets, whatever, to fix or repair whatever you have? Great freaking question, man. Great question. Since we have a celebrity guest that is most famous, and I've been begging this guy for an autograph and still won't send me one. He sends me a middle finger every time I ask him. But I'm going to go ahead and did you hear that question?
I thought you were talking to Native.
No, he did.
Zing.
Prepping Outside the Box, how are you tonight, brother?
Oh, I just like that. He's like, oh, man, screw you guys.
What?
All right, so I'm sorry. I've got to go back. I was doing my story. I couldn't keep up with the chat there.
Here you go. So the question, what kind of tools do you guys prep? Like wrenches, screwdrivers, sockets, whatever, to fix or repair whatever you have? Great question.
Mm-hmm.
What? I'll let you, Prepping Outside the Box, you just come on here. What you got, brother, on this?
It's a couple different things. So I've got my main toolbox out in the garage that is everything I need to work on vehicles and stuff like that for my skills. And but for all my bags, I've got the tools I need to do work and replace parts on my firearms.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of it's kits and things like that. You can go get bits and packages and things like that, the little like cases with the bits on it for a whole, like everything you're going to use, you know. And then get some. I've got some different hammers and things like that. I've got stuff for gunsmithing.
I do too. Ever since I started, dude, I probably spent about $120 on just, I got the block so you could set the loader in there. I got all the punch set, the rubber mallet, the AR wrench. Yeah, I mean everything. Yeah.
I do keep. Hold on, I'm not at my house. I'm somewhere else. So you might hear a whole bunch of crazy kids running around here. I do keep this on me. Right, it's a little flat piece that unfolds a whole bunch of different tools, and I've used this thing a lot. Just is
that a multi-tool? I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's a folded like a flat multi-tool, right? And it all folds out and well, here I'm using one hand, but you can sit there and unfold all the little pieces, and if you even pop it down, it's got a crimper and a wire cutter and stuff like that on it, little hex or nut. Yeah, little things, man. It's got different wire cutters and things on it, but it's a little tiny tool that I keep in my pocket, and it's done a lot. I've prepared my toilet with it. I've done a whole bunch of stuff.
I'm surprised you haven't lost that thing yet.
It just sits in my pocket.
That's pretty cool, man.
What about y'all?
Hey, I haven't been paying attention because I've been cooking stuff, but I'm fixing to have to hop off here. But I mean, I just want to say something right quick. Dangers can't start no fires, and prepping outside the box. Don't know nothing about no
I
tools.
did too get that fire started. Don't.
Patriot ain't really a patriot, and Native don't know stuff. And Keto Homestead with Jess, I love you, girl. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Love you too.
Later, taters.
Yeah, huh?
See ya.
Good night.
Well, I'll say I don't prep tools myself, but my husband collects a lot of antique hand tools.
Mhm.
Great.
That works too.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. When I was in construction, I got so many tools that either they fell off and somebody forgot about them, or sometimes they'd be rusty. I'd take them home, take some sandpaper, clean them up. They ended up freaking and like Craftsman. Dude, Craftsman was really good. I don't know how they are now, if they're still around, but you could take like a 30-year-old Craftsman screwdriver, take it back into Sears, and they'd give you a brand new one, just like that.
I have to admit to something to you guys. So I'm like an avid dumpster diver.
Okay.
And there are
I'm not judging.
there's a lot of government companies, I won't say any names, but they will get tools, hammers, whatever, sockets, screwdrivers. They'll buy brand new tools and they'll use them one time and throw them in the dumpsters.
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
they will.
when I found that out, I was blown away.
You said it right there when you said it was a government job. Of course,
No.
they're wasteful, dude. They can't do anything fucking right.
Okay.
Somebody had to bring up government.
Chill. All right. So anyway, so yeah, okay. Anarchy Television was also wanting to. It's not just the tools to fix and repair things, but the knowledge to do so as well. So I wanted to touch on this a little bit. Another reason why you shop flea markets. Flea markets have a lot of books. Man, I'm talking tons of books. One of the things that I like to do, I have a lot of tools. I have two great big toolboxes. I'm about 5'9", 5'8 3/4", somewhere in there, depending, And so I want to tell you that I've got two toolboxes that I can barely tiptoe and look up into the top of. They're huge, full of freaking tools. Okay, and I've done plumbing for a long time, and so I have a lot of plumbing tools. And the knowledge to do so, and I grew up poor, so we couldn't take our car to the mechanic. We couldn't take our vehicles, and now in a lot of these newer cars, don't get me wrong, they have a lot of this electronic crap and everything. But the flea markets, what I wanted to touch on was the flea markets have a lot of books in there. And if you'll go through and you'll just spend a little time and kind of walk through, you can see how to. Just remember these words: how to fix this, how to do this, how to repair this. Great books to have, man. It's always good to have some basic books on, how to, fix a hole in your roof. If you don't actually know how to do that, hello.
Sorry, they're intrusive. Go back to your cage. I told you couldn't get out yet.
Go back to
No,
your
I will agree with you on that, and they need to update those books, because with this electronic crap, because I used to have like a 92 Chevy 1500. Yes, I bought Chevy. And I used to love it because I could literally sit on top of the radiator and work on the engine block, everything right there. Now it's like I look inside I've got a Saturn now, six cylinder, and I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah.
So many fuses, wires everywhere. It's just, yeah, it's confusing. You need to keep those things up. And
Well, there are a lot of things that you can actually do to wire around this stuff and disconnect certain things. And there's a lot of knowledge again out there on the internet right now of how to do this. And so this is knowledge that is good to have. And Mrs. Prep and Plumber, I wanted to address, since this guy over here got, he has all these funny stories. I want to tell you a little fast funny story about plumbing. So we pull up to work one day. Boss says, "Hey, I need you two guys to go out here and these people didn't winterize their house, and they, their little vacation house, and they went to turn the water on, and a bunch of stuff was leaking underneath, yada yada, washing machine hose, lines blown out, all this good stuff." So my boss is like, y'all go and repair it. We go. Well, we get there, and it's this little rickety little cabin, and it's got a rock foundation on it. Okay. And then it's got, the brick foundation under, just piers under it, just out of cinder blocks.
Get you.
Well, I look up under the, where the crawl hole is. The crawl hole's wide open. And I look under there, and you can see where the little rock and mortar had cracks in it and had separated, and some of them were like this wide. And I'm looking under there, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, I can see like outside all over this foundation, and this whole underneath that house is covered about this deep in leaves. Now this is in the springtime. All the snakes and spiders and stuff are coming out.
Yep.
We had to crawl under this freaking house through these leaves to repair the plumbing underneath. And I'm gonna tell you, I got it's a sharpshooter shovel. Some people may or may not know what it is. Plumbers definitely know what a sharpshooter is, but it's basically a long it's the blade of the shovel is long. Kind of looks like a crocodile snout. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So I take this sharpshooter, and I'm clearing out a good, nice little path, raking these leaves out and stuff, right? I'm kind of chopping, and I clear all this stuff out. Well, as we're having to crawl under the house, I'm taking and just chopping hard as I can all through there, just bam, bam, bam. I was wore out by the time I got to where we had to start repairing the plumbing at. And man, sitting there, so I'm raking us a big trail. Well, while I'm up under there, and I'm actually gluing some pipe, and repairing some stuff, my buddy decides he's going to take and run his hand up my pants leg, his finger like that. Man, I freaking hit my head on the floor beam. I'm not kidding. Like to knock myself out, dude. I jumped.
I should be laughing, but
and dude, I had a pop knot, and I'm gonna tell you, worst freaking job I ever did, man. We was covered in freaking ticks, chiggers. God dang, it was the most horrible job I ever did. I hated it, man. I was scared. God dang, man. I just knew a snake was gonna crawl up on my head or across my belly or something, And the bad thing is once you got all the way up in there, you could only, you couldn't, I could not turn over. You know what I'm saying? Because it was so tight, and that's why I hit my head on the, I had to crawl up in there like this, and my buddy was kind of shoving me up under there a little bit, and then he kind of had to pull me back to a point, and I was using the floor joist to pull myself back out from under there. It sucked. I'm telling you, it sucked. It sucked. And I cussed my boss up one side and down the other for sending me to that place. I didn't really cuss him, but you know what I mean. Anyway, yeah, I hated that, man. God dang, man. I did. That sucker run his freaking hand up my pants leg, man, and I freaking jumped and, man, like to knock myself smooth out, dude. But anyway, so back to it. The thing about the tools and all that. Books. Freaking, there's a plethora of information on what I think you should do is what I think you should what I think everybody should do. I do it. Is I look at my surroundings, my homestead. I call it my homestead. I don't have a great big homestead. I'm not, but I look at my place. I look at what I have, the type of trailer I've got, things like that. And then what I do is I go on the internet and I research stuff about the trailer that I've got, the type of roof I have, things like that. And then I try to, as I can, to go and buy a couple of things that I can use this type of material to repair this type of material.
Right.
There may be 3 types of material you can use to repair this with, but you can't use this material and this material. You know what I'm saying? So I try to have, I've got junk everywhere in these buildings, and it's not junk actually, but it's stuff. I've got new screwdrivers still in a big, it's unopened. It come with all kinds of different screwdrivers and nut drivers, and it's still brand new in the box over there.
And it's all handheld, so even if you can't charge your batteries, you can still. Yeah.
Yes. If y'all can see that, this is this is sitting in front of me actually, but it's just full of all kinds of crap, and screws, nuts and bolts, and wire nuts, and just it's just all kinds of stuff that I have like that. And for just later on, it's a lot of crap I don't ever even use, but shit gets bad, another good barter item right there. I've got a whole thing of hose clamps. Man, hose clamps can be used for a lot of things. And man, I can spider britches. Yes, ma'am, Miss Prep and Plumber. I guarantee you. Yeah. But like hose clamps and nuts and bolts and stuff, these actually are good bartering items. Man, I'll trade you a handful of this stuff that you really need. Give me 6 eggs and a little bit of that bread starter you got going on over there. You know what I'm saying? And these hose clamps, they can make some stuff. Maybe they've got one of them ram pumps, and they need a couple of hose clamps or something. Just saying, these are all good things. And I yield.
Patriot, only you can get a question about tools and then end up telling us about how dudes put their hands up your pants.
Well, I'll tell you.
That's good.
I only did that because
I'm just messing with you, Patriot.
I only did that because every time we start to tell us, talk about something good, someone interjects some story that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Just some random.
Who's he talking about? No, but yeah, that's
What's up?
I was reading something in the chat. No, what do you got? You sitting over there all with your losing beanie on?
What?
With this guy, I can go bald.
Yeah, I would.
I didn't go bald.
No, well now I want to put it back. Oh my lord, hold on.
I know the feeling, dude.
Native. Native, you know, what do you think about all the tools and the books and the knowledge and
I mean, I've always said prep knowledge. That should be one of your main preps, and then taking that knowledge when you can and turning it into skills, because that's something you'll always have, even if you have to evacuate and that you didn't grab anything. You got skills, but I've been prepping tools ever since I was an adult. Just I'll stop when I'm driving on the road. If I see a screwdriver laying on the side of the road, I'll back up and go get it.
Yep.
But
I hear you.
one thing I've been doing since we built this house here is anytime some kind of plumbing emergency happened, I would fix it myself. And whatever materials I used, I bought double, and that way I could prep up in case it broke again. And I prep piping, PVC, ABS, and the PEX piping.
Yeah.
And like all kinds of valves, like you said, the hose clamps. I'll always often find myself just grabbing a bag when you go out to the register. But yeah, I prep tools. I have a lot of hand tools. I've been getting into that because I'm thinking more and more that when the major shift hits, there's electricity is going to be in short supply. So I have a lot of hand tools, gardening tools, stuff like that. I mean, you ever been in a situation where you needed a rake or a pitchfork or a shovel and you didn't have one? It's like, man, this sucks. But so I try to prep those things.
Getting
I have all
hand
the
top grinder.
Yep, like the hand drill, like with the long foot and a half inch. Yep.
Yeah.
Keto really touched really well on that while ago about her husband collecting a lot of these old style tools. They are very, very, very well built.
Yes,
and
they were.
you got
like that anymore.
Well, you got to understand that if you go out and buy a 20-volt Milwaukee saw, a circular saw or a sawzall, you're going to pay up in the hundreds of dollars for that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
Right.
Well,
great tool.
You would be surprised with that $100, 120, 150. Some of them I've seen are $200-300, man, for these things, man. Well, when they're nice now, but in a shift situation, you may not be able to recharge that battery. I mean, I do have some solar stuff, some small stuff, but maybe you can't recharge that. And them great hand tools that Keto's talking about, you can go to a lot of these flea markets again, and these yard sales. I keep saying flea markets and yard sales, and you'd be surprised at this stuff. Even $50, man, you could go in there and walk out with stuff. You got to have a shopping cart to carry that crap out of there, man. And it's just great old stuff.
Well, and on that same thing, like you look at some of the houses back in the old days. I mean, they didn't have the planers and the mills and everything. These people were chopping down their own trees and stacking them up, making their own housing. I mean, that's just, we always find a way.
Another really great place to look would be estate sales, especially like if you look in the newspaper or online, the older houses, the old farmhouses, those estate sales, you'll get some really good items.
And the pawn shops. Be surprised what you find in little local pawn shops.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Everything.
I know that
anything in those.
I know that Prep and Plumber actually made a video today showing a couple of them hand meat grinders. Them hand turned meat grinders you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
They just clip on. I mean, dude, that's just great item to have, man. I mean, just absolutely fantastic item.
Absolutely.
Hey, going off that flea market stuff, I was about to say that too, because if you go out into the country and go to an antique store, flea market, you'll find every single old tool you can ever want. Every single one. Me and the wife will go out there, and that's where I got my a lot of my axes and things like that too, is out there. You can make your own freaking handles and stuff for them. So
I got Prep and Plumber says he always go to pawn shops. He got a $900 welding machine, $175.
Yep.
Exactly.
Dang.
You know, I've got a generator over here that I bought at a pawn shop. This thing, it's a 4,000 watt generator, and it looks brand spanking new. I mean, it looks brand new, like the muffler is not even discolored on it. I bought that thing for $100.
Wow.
Dude
That-
had it in his pawn shop for a while. Yeah, I went over there and I'd seen it multiple, because I hit them pawn shops too hard, you know, and I'd seen it, and a couple of times I went in there, you know, little on, going on, and I looked over there and that generator was still there, and I said, "Hey, dude," I said, "what would it take, cash money?" Because he wasn't selling a lot of stuff, because this is just back after this COOF virus hit, and I'm like, "You ain't, you know, this thing's been in here a while. What would it take for me to walk out the door with that?" And he kind of looked in his books and he goes, "You know what?" He goes, "I need to sell something." He goes, "Man, $100." I was like, I couldn't get the money out of my wallet quick enough, man.
Mhm.
And it runs great, man. It's a great little, it's a outdoorsman or something like that generator. It actually looks, it's John Deere green, you know, and it's called like the Outdoorsman or something. And works freaking great.
Oh yeah, at Anarchy, I always keep backup saws, hand saws, and I don't necessarily have the hand drills, but you know, worst case scenario, I got a few seeds that I could make my own holes in a 2x4. If you know what I mean.
I have a question on the generators. Have you guys seen the solar power generators?
Yeah, I have one.
How do you like it?
You have one, okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, the one I have is solar grid for our house. It runs 70% of electricity. So
Wow.
and
Wow.
so far so good. I haven't really had to actually like just use it. You know, we haven't switched the power off yet, and just see what runs. But we're getting there.
That's going to be interesting. When you do that, try and make a video if you would.
Absolutely, yeah, we will.
That right there is something that I would actually, if I'm gonna invest some money. How much did you spend on that thing, by the way?
I mean, it was pricey. The whole system to run 70% of our needs is about 10 grand.
True.
Yep.
Yeah, but you can get like you can start. It's like a modular system. You can start with just one panel in the generator, you know, for like $1,000, and you can build add on to it. I mean, it's an investment. It really is. It's something we build up to.
Patriots said something that is, gosh dang, is
10 millimeter. Oh man, what the
10 millimeter and
10
quarter inch.
millimeters. They always disappear.
I couldn't lose another tool if I just freaking let somebody take them off and whatever. But by gosh, I can guarantee you can't find a 10 millimeter or quarter inch. Never. I agree.
Amen. Especially on the 10 millimeter. Good God, I lose those things all the time.
Dang.
Good Lord.
Yeah, they are elusive, man. Geez. Yeah, they're anyway. Yeah, so
$1,000 welder and wow, and a 10 kilowatt generator for wow. For free?
yeah, Prep and Plumber brought up that while ago that, you know, a lot of people can't find generators. And you can go hit these pawn shops and you can find, especially when they're, you know, this is something to think about, guys. They're shutting down that pipeline, right? There's gonna be a lot of welders out there. It's probably gonna go up on the pawn shop and on the you know, up for sale. Pretty much, yeah. The generators or the welders, the big welders like that, they all have built-in generators, and you can get a 2-for-1 right there. Sometimes for what it would cost you just for a generator, for a new generator. And dude, you know, now, you know, maybe you don't know how to weld, but maybe somebody next to you or in your mag does know how to weld, you know, and if you don't know how to weld, it's something you can practice and learn how to do.
Hey, I've got a question. You know all those the city, and I'll say it this way: I can't do a video on this because obviously it'd be illegal. But if it was a really dire shift situation, how much energy could you get from collecting all those solar panels that are put out there on city lights and putting them together?
I have thought about that too, Josh.
Dude,
I'm just saying they're everywhere.
yes,
They are.
They totally are. If you knew how to wire them together, man, I'd be climbing them. Yeah.
It's not
I'm just
hard.
saying, I don't know how much it will run, but if you could get enough of them to keep a deep freeze going or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
I'm not promoting it right now.
Yeah, dude, we're waiting for without rule of law there. That's
yeah,
WROL talk.
I will tell you this, that, you know, I happen to live around a bunch of gas wells. Everything they have out there is all solar. Man, there's solar panels and batteries every freaking where. And, you know, I had to go and repair them, so I do know how to kind of, you know, wire some up. You know, they're not that hard. And I've always said, the minute I think that stuff is kicking off, if I can get to them, which I have several of them I can get to without going on any main roads, shit, I'm going with my truck, and I'm collecting all that shit, if you know what I mean. All them batteries and solar panels and stuff. Yeah.
Let's say Patriots Patriot.
Yep.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing?
So,
How's it going, brother?
Hello.
I'm sneaking upstairs for a beer.
I can still hear y'all.
You start sneaking and we all get quiet.
We're on a beer run.
What you drinking on?
Just a little Bud Light. I'm a sissy.
Oh.
Getting old. I save the whiskey. I don't drink whiskey unless I'm with friends. With the exception of American Pie or like the American Honey or something like that, I'll drink that. But that's not like straight whiskey, you know.
No, you want to talk about whiskey? Freaking Patriot has the whiskey, dude. I'll tell you what.
You got that moonshine up there. Dude,
wouldn't that be interesting if on Prepperty, like they had a section just about alcohol, man? I would probably nail every single question.
hey, Ark Wildman, what's up, brother?
We say, Patriot, nice fire a while ago.
Thank you. I promise. And it really sucked because afterwards I got to thinking, I was like, you know, I could have made a video on how I made the stick and the spear. And I'm just a damn dumb country boy, you know. I don't think about stuff like that. And then anyway, I swear I did do everything one-handed because I really did want to see just how hard it was and if I could do it or not, you know.
It's hard.
It is very hard. I made this spear one-handed earlier. Cut it down with a saw and everything, and took that $10 knife I've been showing off from Walmart, and I built that to double up as a fire starter, and made a video earlier how to do it all one-handed, and got a fire going. And you can also use this to kill a rabbit, you know, to go down by the creek, be a little patient, stab something, you know. You can use it as a weapon. Yep. So I wanted to go a little further with the one-handed fire starting challenge, and tying this string and getting this all in there secure. Like this thing is in there, man. You can see I'm wiggling it all around. It ain't moving.
I don't know if I could have tied it or not.
Yeah, I could just picture him with this freaking stick between his thighs, freaking wrapping that thing one-handed.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna lie to you. I did poke myself once with the damn thing. I was trying to get it around there, and I poked myself, and I was like, "Damn it, that hurt," But
hey, you're
yeah.
working. You're working at. What'd you do it right-handed? Probably because you're.
Yeah,
right-handed?
just
And then
because.
you got the workout in your legs too. I'm sure.
But I kind of talked about it, how I did it in the video and everything. But yeah, it worked. I don't know. I was able to use this, and I can still jab the crap out of you. I'm jabbing my 4x4 post over here, But it's can be used as a weapon, be used as a killing tool, and I can also for all gig, exactly. I can also just strike a fire off of it as well, one-handed. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, medical supplies, yes, absolutely. They're a must. I mean, I've got couple of tourniquets, and I've got 6 of the compression pads. I don't have the chest seals, although we were talking about that earlier about the duct tape, because I always keep I keep Gorilla Tape in my bug out bag, and I like what Native was saying, that you can actually still use duct tape to do that. So, and I haven't tested it yet, but then again, I haven't met anybody that's been shot in the chest either.
Have you ever seen a chest seal?
You'd be better off using
Like
a
an opened
plastic
up
wrap than you would the duct tape.
Yeah, have you ever seen a chest seal, like an opened up one? You'd be better off with like he said, like a piece of saran wrap with some, I don't know, some KY on it. Seriously. Like, no joke. The KY will help it stick to you. You know what I mean?
He's probably got plenty of KY. I was gonna say,
no, but there's like a goo in the ones I have.
Yeah.
Hey, it's only good if you can do the aftercare.
Yeah. So, let's just say getting shot's a pretty extremely fucked situation.
Yeah. Mark Wildman, what do you got, brother? I don't see you pop on live chats much.
Just been busy here lately.
Yeah, I see you're posting almost every day.
You guys were all talking about topographical maps and shit.
Right.
Yeah.
I live in New York, but like I'm from Pennsylvania, so I wanted to get familiar with things up here.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And I got a few of these books with they all have the elevations and everything on them,
Nice.
I got that, and I got the Adirondacks. I don't know how to say it right.
Adirondacks, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Close enough, man.
Yeah. And then, but I wanted to say something about, like, you guys were talking about prepping books and stuff earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on the East Coast and you're in the Appalachian Mountains, anywhere, the Foxfire books are really good. I mean, this is some down-home shit from back in the day. And you're going to walk away from reading them talking different because they talk like old school in them, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And you're gonna walk away with some y'alls, and but you're gonna have a handful of knowledge.
I think pretty much everybody, even in the chat, man. Hey, what's up, y'all?
Y'all and yuns.
Yeah, them Foxfire books, I'm telling you, they're good.
And Crick.
What's up, Dusty?
Dusty, what's up?
Dusty, I like his emoji. That's cool.
Hey, it's Tom Araya from Slayer, everybody. We got
I love it.
Dude, you are, like, seriously, you're almost a spitting image for him, though. But I haven't heard you play bass yet or sing.
Dusty, you there?
I see his icon. Oh,
no, sound like Sound like maybe he disagreed with his daughter on some questions and she was choking him.
Oh man, I don't know what to do to try and get prepared for tomorrow night, man. Like seriously,
The easiest way for you to get prepared is all of us send Dusty some questions he can use against you guys.
How to twerk.
oh god, yeah,
It's
that I would fail that one because
It's going to be an entire
I don't know how
category.
to work. That reminds me actually.
Dangerous. Did you ever go back and watch the last one?
Which one?
The one where I won.
No, I haven't gone back. Oh man, I'm so behind on YouTube, man. It's hard when you do like freaking midnight streams, and then you got shit to do during the day, and then freaking today today was tax day, so I spent like 3 hours over at my stepdad's house, and just frustrating.
No, I get it. I was on live until like 3 o'clock in the morning this morning, and then I got off and I went to lay down, and then I seen you were still live, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go over there. I stayed on your panel for a while.
Yeah. See,
Yeah,
normally I cut these streams off at about 2 hours or so, but we've just got such a good thing going right now. It's like I'm not even gonna mess with it.
So, what do y'all, Art Wild Man? I tried to ask you this a minute ago. What you got over there, bud? Other than being busy, and I seen them fish.
Yeah, I went fishing today.
Man,
Crappie and brim.
that's right. I was like, I left a comment in your video. I was like, when's dinner?
I'll probably go back tomorrow too. They're biting good.
I got a freezer full of perch. I'm waiting for my buddy to come over. We're gonna fish fry. I'm gonna make surf and turf steaks and some perch. I love perch. It's probably the best fish there is.
We went trout fishing the other day, and my boy, he caught his first one, so he really enjoyed that.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah. They up again the dam up there, or are they back down on that buckbrush that I saw on that?
Nowhere in the brush and crappie and brim is.
Right, I got you.
Right, not far from the bank.
I got a couple of places over here near me that I can go, and I might just have to do that if I don't stay up too late tonight. Even if I do, I may just go tomorrow afternoon and see if I can't pull in a few.
That's how you say.
It couldn't hurt to try.
Right?
They was full of eggs.
Really? Already?
Yeah, the crappie was.
Well, I mean, I'd imagine they wasn't bloody though.
No, huh?
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I might have to do that. Go out.
I really had fun. I hooked a buffalo in the tail.
Uh-oh.
And somehow he got a crappie jig in him, and I was hooked into the crappie jig. And I was getting him to the bank, and the crappie jig popped out, and all I had was the crappie jig that somebody had lost.
I understand that.
What's Cherokee talking about? What angry do? He get mad at somebody?
He called out. That's how this whole thing started out when Dangerous and myself and Keto were backstage before this started because somebody was late. Anyway, Native. So anyway, we were talking about what angry basically, and I also saw some other videos today of people calling out fake preppers. This seems to be a thing all of a sudden, that there's fake preppers and there's those that are not, and so forth. And basically, we kind of established earlier that Angry Prepper did a video on it about fake preppers, and he said, you know who you are. He didn't call no names, but people that are taking money but not using it, or not distributing it where it's supposed to be, so forth, things like that, taking money online and so forth. And
I seen that earlier, and he was actually like, he even said something along the lines of like, your information's gonna get people killed. I've actually watched videos of his that would get people killed. Just saying. Not to be,
Hey, what's up, everybody?
those were my exact thoughts as I was watching the video. I was like, dude, if anybody listens to that, they're as good as fucking dead. And it was a while ago, and I really, seriously, I don't know.
Trigger.
Every time you point your finger, there's 3 pointing back. Remember that.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. And so that's kind of where that goes.
Yeah.
Just drama, huh?
Yes, pretty
Dude,
much.
it's separation. It's separation. They're separating us.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
Hey,
It's by design.
hey.
This is by design.
Hey, 3%er.
Yes.
Hey, that generator you got, I think I got the same one you got from the pawn shop. Is it a Sportsman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that one, man. That's a pretty good generator.
Yeah, it works great, dude. When I went to buy it, dude, we took it outside, and dude was like, boom, it started like on the second start, man. Sit there and purred like a kitten. I was like, shoot, I'm buying it.
Dude,
yeah, definitely. They
Load that
Did
in
you
the
see the
truck.
one that?
Yeah.
Did you see the one Airborne Prepper has? I think he's got the 9,000 kilowatt. Freaking, it's got the turn start on it. Pretty nice setup. And he's got his whole house rigged so he could just put the main breakers and run his house on it.
Yeah, that's the way I did it too. Best investment I ever made.
But that was the whole thing about the prepping outside the box, about the Angry Prepper. That's what he's talking about. It's so that's kind of what we talked about backstage. Was we just would spend the night tonight talking about prepping and fake preppers, or what to do, and just we got into the big prepping conversation. And
we even got Survival Living on here, man. And I mean, he's been at this for a while, and he was like, dude, he would have people contact him and be like, okay, you do it like this and this and that, and then next thing you know is that they're making a video with his information almost word for word, and it's like, really? Yeah. I mean, at least I was honest about it. I went out there and I said straight out, my phone has 5 minutes of record time. So I piled up some pine needles, and I got the ferro rod, and I'm freaking striking it for like a minute. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go with the 1 hand challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I made it short, quick, and then I peed on it. I went back inside.
He don't and called the dogs, huh?
So
go. I didn't record that part.
So just to be mean, so like I said, some of the people are fake preppers and some are not. But the whole thing of it is that because someone doesn't show you a bunch of stuff, doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing, or doesn't know about prepping, or doesn't know how to do things out in the woods.
Well, you can't.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No. I cut you off.
No, you made me lose my train of thought. It's all over now. So it's easy.
Damn it, dude. I'm sorry, man. I was just gonna say, I mean, you could be upset as you want at people and the information they put out, but I mean, you can't regulate that.
Right.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Just It's just I mean, you could tell people not to watch them if you want to, but you're gonna have to be specific, because now, and I mean, I get what you're talking about now because I've seen other like stuff about it, but I mean, y'all already talked about this earlier. I'm just saying you can't regulate that. People are gonna watch what they want to watch.
Yeah. Well, and even to the fact of, when I watch videos, if I agree, and it's something that was really useful to me, sometimes I'll make a comment, If it's something that I completely disagree with, or I'm like, well, that's just stupid, I just don't say anything. I don't put a thumbs down. I don't say anything. I just turn it off and move to the next video. I mean, there's, I mean, what's the point? I get on there and stir up a bunch of controversy and maybe something that the guy did in the video before that is actually really useful to someone. And now this next video, I've made a stupid comment of, this guy sucks and, he's stupid and yada, yada. Well, now they don't go, somebody else reads that comment and they don't go back and read and watch something that actually would have been useful to them. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a detriment to people.
There's only one thing that thumbs down, and it's those freaking like politician ads that'll come up on your thing. Be like, Biden, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm like, wrong choice. Dink.
Yeah.
And you see Trump, and it's like, yay.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I watch the videos on the Washington site is so I can thumbs down it.
Oh yeah, dude, and they removed the comment.
Do you see the numbers? You see the difference in the numbers? I think the scales are tipping, guys.
Well, according to society, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
the scales are tipping. People were like, wait a second, I smell bullshit. Do you guys smell bullshit?
Dude.
Hey, is Native still in here?
Are we going to start talking about the government again?
Yeah, I'm still here.
No, dangerous.
Hey, that generator you got, what's the expiration date on it?
What generator? The solar generator?
The solar powered one? Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure, brother.
They have expiration.
Because some of them,
I was about to say,
batteries only last for a maximum of 10 years.
Oh, you talking about the battery pack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
like 7 or 10.
Yeah, it's something like that. But I mean, you can also it'll generate electricity just while the sun's out, but when the sun goes down, it'll stop.
Right.
So you don't need the battery.
As much as I hate science at this point, I think everybody in their prepper community should have also, on top of everything else, a periodic table of elements.
Yeah.
And an instruction manual on how to use them effectively.
That's
because
actually,
you'd be amazed what you could do with that little table.
Rip Curl is the guy to talk to about that, man. He knows his chemistry.
I've dipped my toes in it a time or two, but I'm no expert by any means. But I'm telling you, there's some valuable. I mean, you can take powdered sugar and stump remover and make some cool shit.
Oh yeah,
just those two things, equal amounts together, they are really sweet.
Well, yeah, let's.
Hey, if I disappear, my phone's about to die. Just so you know.
If I disappear, it's probably the NSA being like, out of here, fuck.
Yeah, I don't. We've already went through the devices that go boom on.
Oh God, yeah.
And we don't want to go there again.
Oh, I didn't say anything about that. I was talking about making rocket motors for rockets.
Right.
Yeah. You don't want to compress those two things. If you compress those two things, then they will do something you don't want it to do instead of be a rocket. You got to have a hole at the bottom. Because if you don't have that hole at the bottom, there's a problem.
Right. So anyway, yeah, I think I might have to go and wet a hook here, either tomorrow or the next day for sure.
It's a beautiful day out today.
I've got some I've got some. Well, I stayed up way too late last night trolling Dangerous channel. I never did go on the panel, and the Dangerous Freedom After Dark. I stayed on there trolling them, messing with them, giving them a hard time, and then I had to make a couple of videos last night. That was like at 3 or 4 o'clock this morning. I was starting them fires, them first two I did, and then in here in my shop floor, and I couldn't get my dadgum because everything I do is on this phone, the videos I make, and I couldn't get the stupid light to come on, so you couldn't really see me back there. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, well, I don't know. And I was like, screw it, I'll just go in there in the shop floor, make a couple little quick ones, just show, hey, this is. And then I went and done the 1-hand challenge out there today in the yard, where it was daylight, but. Yeah, I stayed up a little too late last night, and so I had to sleep a little. Sleep gets more important. It seems like when you get older. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
Patriot, you made a very good point making that video, because Dangerous was questioning what fluid you put on it, and I was trying to say that cotton and dryer lint are so flammable it starts house fires. The dryer lint.
And I'll be honest with you, the way that Patriot does it is the same way that I did it. The only thing is I had like a bug out situation. We had to basically fumigate the house, and so we still got a ton of shit in our storage shed, and that's my
dude.
Cotton.
I've seen that stuff. All right, hold on real quick. Prepping outside.
Antifreeze mixed with plant fluid will self-combust. Do you guys know that? You can start a wet fire with antifreeze. Antifreeze and plant food together in the proper mixture will self-combust. And it's a wet fire, so you can start it at any temperature or any wetness.
Well, I was going to say back in my framing days, like when it was winter and it was wet and everything, we would use liquid nails. We would we'd put some 2x4s and 1x4s, whatever cutoffs we had, throw them in a freaking pile, put some liquid nail on top. That went up like that, dude. Liquid nail is pretty easy.
I wanted to say real quick that, I didn't use anything at all on the dryer lint. It was just straight dryer lint. And they're trying to love raid.
Did you use some Vaseline on that there?
No Vaseline, no nothing, dude. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And I even went outside. It had been raining. Mark Wildman knows what I'm talking about. It'd been raining. And I went out there and I went out there and got some wet grass and just started.
Right on. Thank you for the love, North Shore. I appreciate that very much.
I'm just saying this.
Yeah. So I wanted to touch on that. That's what I was wanting to kind of make that little point real quick, that even wet grass, it dries very, 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 very quickly. But anyway, that stuff that he's got prepping outside the box, y'all check this out. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. It's there's a couple different brands out there, but I got Blackbeard, the American made, whatever, but it's a fire starter. And all you do is you take your knife, slice off a piece of it, spray it out, and spark it. I use a ferro rod and spark it up, and it starts the fires.
Wow.
You can start it in the water too, can't you?
You can start it on top of water. It's like a typhoon match almost, but it's a rope. It's just a rope that's a fire starter, and then I'll sit there and take the little ferro rod and light it up.
Freaking cool. Yeah.
I came out here to start a fire.
You can literally float that stuff on top of water and freaking and it fires right up. I'd like to get me some of that. I saw an ad for that the other day. I think that'd be really cool to have in your little backpack.
Yeah. How fast you can start a fire could be life or death.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple.
That's why I said in the video, I hope Ron don't get stuck out in the desert at night. He's gonna freeze to death.
It gets cold at night.
Are you
doesn't it?
kidding me, man? Dude, it's freaking. We're like 9:30 and it's still 83 degrees. Ain't nobody freezing tonight.
No.
Hey,
not
I'm gonna jump off here, guys, just so I can follow and chat for a little bit. I got like 5% battery because I'm a prepper.
I got
Anyways.
That guy.
Hey man, yeah, we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
See you, bro.
Y'all have a good one, everyone.
Bye, bro.
It's like it's cold as hell here.
Everybody, I mean, freaking, you know, Patriot's got his hoodie on. Even Jess has a sweater or something on.
Yeah. It's a zip up hoodie.
I was just outside with the dogs, so I had my coat on.
Yeah, it's 50 degrees here, right here where I'm sitting at, which it's not bad. I just put the hoodie on because I like it and it's comfortable and it's not I'm not too hot or I'm not too cold, you know, I'm just kind of just with it on. So hoodies are awesome. So
They are. I like cotton though. I don't care much for that synthetic crap. Like fleece material, you know? I like cotton.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Or
something.
Wool's my favorite. I really love wool. Like
I'll tell you something else. If somebody knows this or not, and I bet you Ark Wildman does. I don't know who else knows this, but you know, when you got blue jeans on and you get out there, you know, you can take your knife and you just take the and scrape it like this. Like this, you can scrape your blue jeans and you can actually scrape off some lint, you know, some material off of it. It'll thin your material a little bit, but hey, I would rather have a little bit of thin material than for my ass to freeze to death at night.
Yep.
You know, so you can actually scratch that off and scratch you up a nice little thing of lint, you know.
Or get in your belly button and get a whole bird's nest. You know?
Yeah. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Well, you know what, everyone? We've been on for almost 3.5 hours, which is way longer than I usually plan on going, but we've had such a great panel. I will be doing an after dark show, probably in half an hour or less, give or take. And anyways, we've got like four minutes left. So, Patriot, you got anything that you want to mention?
No, just I think if Native was still remembers or whatever, I guess we're supposed to be on Monday night.
Yeah, y'all better be on there. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes,
on the Native.
Absolutely, brother.
I appreciate y'all having me up and everything.
Yeah.
All right.
It's nice meeting you, Patriot.
I've been hanging out here for a few days and that. My friend Tinfoil comes up on your panel, I think.
Oh yeah, Tinfoil.
Tinfoil's awesome, man.
Oh man, I love that woman.
Yeah. We love
probably
Tinfoil.
one of my best internet friends, you know.
Right.
For sure.
Well, y'all have a good night.
Ark Wild Man, thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
You got anything else?
Thank you, brother.
You're just going to keep doing your daily videos, I'm guessing? Okay.
Yep.
Well, anyways, Ark Wild Survival, he does almost a daily video, and he goes out and he camps out. I mean, does stuff out in the woods, and I mean it's fun to watch. But anyways, so Native, so Monday night we got the
wait, who goes camping out?
Ark Wild,
the guy that was just
no shit. He just goes places and camps.
Well, I
like
don't know where he goes, but he goes out and he'll like do cooking and stuff like that out over an open, just an open campfire. Good.
And he does it on the Googler.
Yep, on the YouTubes. Yep.
I just call it a Googler.
Yeah, same
What the
difference.
fuck? Yeah, it's the same thing.
All right, so Native, you said Monday night we got the tribal council, and me and Patriot 3%er are going to be on Native's channel. And also tomorrow night I'm going to be on Dusty Data's channel, and I'm going to try and win that bag.
Bud, you're gonna
I
lose
don't
so
want to
bad.
be a damn loser.
Bud,
I
dangerous.
remember talking to Dusty Data in the chat a couple days ago. He's funny.
Oh, he's
Dangerous.
great, dude. I'll tell you
Dangerous. I hate to
Dusty's
tell
the
you this, but you're going to lose so badly, you're not even going to get a consolation prize.
what. Oh,
You're not even going to get a participation trophy, man.
that's messed up. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having faith in me. I thought you were my brother. Whatever happened to all
have
your
faith.
brothers and sisters? You're like, you're gonna fucking lose.
I do have faith you're going to lose, man. I have faith in you.
Oh man, oh come on, and watch me win by like 10,000 points. All right, Jess, what do you got coming up?
I don't even know what today is. Wednesday is my next pajama party at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, if y'all hadn't seen that, that's very
And
interesting.
not to mention, you do random streams as well, right? Some here and there. You just,
Yeah.
I mean, like I caught you just the other night. I saw you were doing one, and there were so many people doing streams now. It's almost impossible to like get a schedule. Like, oh, we're gonna go from the, and not to mention like even this one. I usually keep it between an hour to 2 hours. We're already past that, but
Yeah, last night was pretty hilarious because we ended up getting into like a Pictionary game where I was able to bring up another screen. And so we were drawing pictures of whatever words came up, and people in the chat had to guess what we were drawing. It was hilarious.
Oh, that sounds fun. We should try that sometime.
Yeah, it was fun.
Well, I mean, I know Dusty, he's got the Prepperty thing, but that sounds fun too.
Yeah.
What about you, Patriot? Patriot, do you post anything on your channel?
No, I just come up on friends' channels of mine, and I'm pretty much off the grid, and I'm building an army off the grid, to be honest with you.
I got you.
Like a real legitimate thing,
You know what?
Things that I talk about in person, that's what I do. But I care about everything y'all care about. I've been watching you for a while from a distance and think you're pretty cool.
Feeling us out and feeling us up.
I'm on second base at least.
All right. So, and Dusty, of course.
So you might want to rethink you guys' selves. I mean, come on. Have some self-respect.
I lost that a long time ago. What's up, Frenchman?
What's up, Frenchman?
We're about ready to get out of here. But if y'all are sub to my Dangerous Freedom After Dark, if somebody could post that link up there, it would be cool. And yeah, thank you, Patriot. Yes, put up all them channels. And so Dusty, he does a Sunday night Prepperty. But he's also known to hang out in Dangerous Freedom After Dark quite often, and other channels and panels. And he's also I think he's the lead singer for Slayer. But all right. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and call this one. Go ahead.
Hey, you guys, how many of you guys up here like dogs, guys and gals?
Love dogs.
Love dogs.
Hey, how many of you like hunting?
Hunting, or did you say honey or hunting?
Hunting.
Yeah, I like them both too. Yeah.
All right, so you like dogs, you like hunting. Now I want to tell you something about dogs and hunting. In every county and just about every state, there's a beagle club or a coon club, and you get a dog and you go there and there's people there, okay? And these people are a lot like us. I'm just expanding your routes and getting you in the woods. See?
Native and Patriot, I want y'all to shoot me an email, man, so I can talk to y'all. I want to get you on Preppery eventually.
Yeah, man. I need to, bro. I've been meaning to email you.
Dude,
Because the next one, the following Sunday, I got Arkansas Living, and I'm talking to TJ Preps, and I just made contact with Pinball. So,
okay. That's a good
That'd be
roundup.
fun.
You know what's really cool about them dog clubs? Is they're like a self-sufficient organization. And like when they go to their trials to see who dog does better, they're pretty much keeping each other afloat. It ain't a money-making organization, but it sustains itself. And there's always good food because everybody brings a wife that can cook good.
Man, yeah, dude, there's plenty. There's
Just saying, get out there, guys. You know, don't just be on here. Get out there, get yourself a dog, and go hunting.
Hey,
You like dogs? You like hunting? Do that.
By the way, I just got me a brand new Beagle pup.
Oh man,
I
who's it out of? Who's it out of? I know the bloodlines, buddy.
This is redneck bloodline.
My daddy's on the cover of Hounds and Hunting.
Well, we
He's a hound.
we just a bunch of old rednecks around here, but these are very well bred dogs, very good dogs, very good hunting dogs, and I was lucky enough to get one of the dogs out of it, and so yeah, I got me a Beagle pup, and I do hunt. I don't. Why does it keep doing that?
It ain't about killing the bunny either. It's just fun to watch.
I am gonna end this stream.
Sorry about that.
I'm trying to end it. Everybody's like, oh wait, I guess we can do this after dark. No problem. We can do that all freaking night long. All right, Chris. I get a lot of emails. Go ahead and email me again. And I'm sorry if I didn't respond to you before, but anyways, Dusty, everybody. Hopefully, I'll see you in the after dark. Everybody in the panel, in the chat. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Love you all. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And
Patriot, I want to talk dogs with you.
And stay armed. Peace.
What are those?